Good morning, everybody. Welcome to City Hall, welcome to Council Chambers, and welcome to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Friday, November 5th, 2004. The City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Meetings are open to the public, and we do invite you to join us. For members of the public unable to attend council meetings, we can be viewed live on your cable station, Channel 35. We can also be viewed live via webcast from the city's homepage or heard via council phone. Members, it is now just shy of 10:20 a.m. and we have 8 members present, 2 shy of a quorum. But this being Friday, as is customary, we have a number of special presentations and recognitions scheduled. I'd like to begin today's meeting by recognizing Councilmember Micikowski.
Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome to all the people who are joining us today. We're going to start today with the presentations on presenting something to the council that was actually unveiled last night. And what it was unveiled last night with a rolled out red carpet and Klieg lights at Parker Center is a new recruitment film for LAPD called To Protect and to Serve. And the red carpet was rolled out for the men and women of LAPD who are playing the roles that you're going to see in this film. We did not hire actors. We used the real folks who are on the streets day in and day out protecting us. The city of LA is going to be hiring at least 300 men and women this year and next year for LAPD. So LAPD was working with the personnel department as well as with a creative public relations firm called Webel Shandwick Worldwide. And what they did was they did some analysis and said, what is the place where do young people, the kind of people we want to attract to LAPD, where do they get their information? And we found that they get their information first from word of mouth. People that they know, family members who are LAPD, who are the best recruiting tool to have people join this police department. But the next best thing that young people are looking at today is the web. So with a lot of analysis as to how we could make a very, very good-looking, attractive, informative website for LAPD, as well as have the added advantage of having a really interesting film about a day in the life and days in the life of our police officers. The film is also going to be made available to movie theaters, and at least the Magic Johnson theaters and the Metropolitan theaters have already agreed to run these vignettes. What we're going to show you today is just one of the films, and if we're ready, let me show you what is going to be available in theaters coming to you and on the web.
In the city of Los Angeles, when duty calls, the LAPD responds.
911 emergency.
I need help. My daughter's missing.
How old is your daughter?
She's 4 years old. Her name's Janelle.
I lost my puppy. Can you help me?
We have a critical missing. There is an Amber Alert, so let's look for any information you get. Pass that into the watch commander. Let's be careful out there.
To fight crime and to keep our streets safe.
I'd be going nuts if this was my daughter.
Push units at 7855, 7855, 211 is incurred Olympic and Ardmore at the Child Market. Suspect family 958 West and 75 Oxford towards Olympic. Property taken use currency. Code 3.
7855, roger.
All units 7055 is in quick pursuit of the 211 suspect southbound near the houses requesting backup. Any area not kept out of this frequency.
Everything well, let's put
7955, we're still behind suspect.
To protect and to serve.
All units, code 4, 11th and Catalina, suspect in us.
Standing with our community.
Los Angeles Police Department this morning issued an Amber Alert. The suspect is driving a black Honda Civic.
Working as a team.
Hey, what's up?
I think I saw that car that you were looking for.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
Let's go.
They take pride in what they do.
K910, code 6 on
And when duty calls, the LAPD responds.
Positive on the vehicle.
Roger. 5-2, we have a positive on the Amber Alert vehicle.
It looks like they found the car.
The LAPD is hiring. Become a part of the team. Visit us at joinlapd.com.
Members, what you couldn't see because of the four screens there is one of the trailers says, "To be continued." And for those of you who want to see the rest of these movie film quality vignettes, join LAPD.com. Go to the website, or you may see it running in your local theaters. I'd like to invite up, first of all, I'd like to ask a number of the people who are here in the audience, I'd like them all to stand, the men and women of LAPD who participated in these films. Have them stand and be received by the council. To the left, okay. And I can tell you, having seen the other two films last night, they are exciting, they are interesting, and these are really, really quality people making the difference, and actually, by way of these films, developing this cutting-edge dynamic website information so that we can continue to get the highest level of recruits and interest people into joining LAPD. The films were written by the creative members of the Weber Shandwick team. They were, music and the voice was done by J.C. Burrows, and the entire creative team was assembled and produced by Jose Maria Chaparro of New World Productions. There were incredible donations from the private sector, working with personnel, working with the police officers. As you can see in this vignette, as well as all the others, they went to every area of the city just to show actual acting out what is going on day to day in LAPD. So this is a thank you to them, a thank you to LAPD and the personnel department for working together under Captain Rick Webb as recruitment to make a great effort. And I am happy to begin today by showing this film to you and ask everyone to remember to look at joinlapd.com for all kinds of information, all kinds of interest to really get, again, the highest level of the best talent out there to join LAPD. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Misikowski. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Cardenas, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Labange, Ludlow, Miskowski, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Smith, Villaraigosa, Whiteside, Padilla. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. The council is officially in session. Ms. Misikowski with her second presentation. And after Ms. Misikowski's next presentation, members will go through the agenda and dispense with consent items.
Thank you, members. I'd like to ask a person who is not a stranger to us to come forward. Although mostly when Cecilia Estelano joins us here in council, she joins us when we're in closed session, because we recognize her as a city attorney who works with us through by far some of our most difficult and complicated cases. Members, I had planned to present this to Cecilia today. I thought it was fitting on the first Friday after the election day, because as we recognized on Wednesday, the voters of the city of Los Angeles did a wonderful, wonderful thing, and that was the passage of Proposition O, which is going to ensure clean water, clean streams, clean environment in terms of the quality of our neighborhoods. And we appreciate what the voters did. We appreciate the leadership of Councilmember Perry and Councilmember Garcetti and Councilmember Reyes in helping to achieve that goal. But I think we all know here that we would not have achieved that goal. We would not have had a proposition on the ballot. We would not have been able to successfully pull together the environmentalist community with the governmental agency communities and with the leadership of the council had it not been for the truly heroic efforts of Cecilia Estelano in putting forward a major council initiative in a settlement of litigation. We had spent far more time than was necessary in battle with the Santa Monica Baykeeper and other environmental organizations that were suing us over sewage spills, pollution in the water, and the like. We were getting fines from the Regional Water Quality Control Board, and we were in not a very good position vis-a-vis litigation. But because, as I say, of Cecilia Estelano recognizing that it would be far better to help find the way together to solve the problems rather than fight over them. Cecilia took very, very complicated litigation that had put the city in potentially a bad position of multi-million-dollar legal costs and penalties, and said, let's turn that around and make it good for the city. As I said, members, I had planned this for today in the aftermath of Proposition O, and I think we've all learned since then that Cecilia, who has been doing heroic work and was just in the council this week, has indicated to the city attorney's office that she's going to be leaving the city. So this has got, while we're celebrating today the victory of Prop O, the victory of what Cecilia has done, it's actually not a happy day in terms of knowing we're not going to have her here in that role. But we all know, because of what Cecilia has done in the other parts of her life, in terms of her own environmental advocacy outside of the role of the city attorney's office, and being former member, alternate to the Coastal Commission, being on the boards of the California League of Conservation Voters and the like. That Cecilia's giving back and going forward and giving to the community in terms of environmental quality is not going to go away. We're just not going to have the pleasure and the advantage, and I really think it is a very positive legal advantage, of having her here giving us that direction on future courses in litigation. But Cecilia, in recognition of your commitment to the residents of Los Angeles, its environmental health, and your dedication and extraordinary efforts and exceptional legal talents exhibited most recently in the successful settlement of environmental litigation, this has left the city of Los Angeles with a lasting legacy of environmental protection, clean water, and healthy communities for generations to come. So on behalf of the voters of the city, on behalf of the City Council, thank you for your amazing efforts.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Garcetti.
Just a point of clarification, is this also our goodbye now? Should we be? Well, what's your last date?
November 19th.
November 19th. Well, I think we should have you back in for a proper goodbye. So I will just keep my comments right now to the work that you've done on the environment for the city, and also just thank Councilmember Misikowski for honoring you on so many levels. I feel like to do environmental recognition today is one of many slices that you've given us of a pretty big loaf of bread in the last few years on land use matters, and you've provided incredible leadership and concise, digestible ways of taking on very complex matters, some of the very most complex matters that this body deals with. And one of the toughest things about being a council member is coming in and having 500 things on your plate, all of which are important and all of which need your study and all of which your staff is looking at, but at the same time, which don't always get the time that you need. I remember when you first came here, you said, as your boss, Rocky Delgadillo, has said, that we are your clients. And you have really embodied that for me more than anybody else, that it is the best lawyer-client relationship one could hope for. Not here's my agenda or here's the only option, but really laying out things so that we could make the best decisions. And in terms of both the sewer settlement that we had and then what it has led in public policy for us to think about around storm drains too has been tremendous. It's a real legacy for the children, which might even be here in council today, like Valerie. But congratulations and thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you before November 19th back in chambers.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes.
I'm assuming she's going to be back then, huh, Mr. Garcia? Okay. Cecilia, I just want to say thank you for your hard work. I won't repeat, but just echo all the real accomplishments that you've brought forward. I don't believe the public will ever understand the millions of dollars you've saved us in the long run. And I truly believe that many of us who struggle in those environments that have been traditionally overlooked, the role and the significance of the changes that we have yet to see, but we know are in place now because of your hard work. And I will talk about how we first met many years ago at the proper time when we know we're going to give you the big hurrah. But thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas.
Wow.
You've done wonderful, wonderful things for the city of Los Angeles. And I don't just say the people of Los Angeles for what Los Angeles is. Los Angeles is an environment. It's people. It's business. It's everything. It's animals. It's just a place of so much dynamism, and you have brought so much to this city. I've only been here just over a year, but the respect and appreciation that I've learned from you and to appreciate you is tremendous. It really is tremendous. And I just wanted to say that I admire the work that you bring and the ethic that you bring to everything that you do. And I want to thank you for giving everything of yourself to your job, because there were many things that we couldn't do in this city unless you had the relationships and you were willing to put your reputation on the line with some people who might not be forgiving just because you're talking to the other side. Just because you're talking to the other side. And all too often human beings think of it as us versus them, and we got to get them. And you never brought that to the table. What you brought to the table was a true human being who believes in what's best for everybody. What's best for everybody. So I appreciate everything that you've done. I admire you tremendously. And there's not very many people who bring the ethic and the commitment that you have shown to all of us. So I just want to tell you thank you so much. And one of my most frustrating times in this city has had something to do with you, but let me clarify what I mean by that. Let me clarify what I mean by that. One of the most frustrating times is when I know that we're working on a case or an issue or some policy, and all of a sudden, you're the attorney that we have to deal with, and I pick up the phone and I tell my staff, I need to talk to her. We need to sit down and talk. And then we get back from your office, but because of the Brown Act, and you've already talked to some other members of the committee, you really can't talk to me about it because of that. And it's so frustrating, because then I have to go figure it out on my own, and I don't have your expertise, and I'm not able to be brought up to speed to the degree that I know you can do for us. And that's been one of my most frustrating things in this city. But I hope I'm not going to be frustrated by your absence, because you're going to be leaving soon. And as I told you a few days ago, we're going to miss you. Los Angeles will continue and move on, but we truly are going to miss you, and we are much better for the commitment and all that you've given for all of Los Angeles. Thank you so much. And God bless you and your new family. You're going to make a wonderful, wonderful mother. There's nothing like having babies to raise, and you've got what it takes to raise that baby right. Congratulations.
Before recognizing the next council member, I see our city attorney, Rocky Delgadillo, is here, if you'd like to say a few words.
Well, first of all, let me just say that thank you to Cecilia for making sure that our council members comply with the Brown Act. Love to make sure that these guys stay out of jail. When Cecilia first came to the city attorney's office, and many of you know we attracted her away from a very high-paying job at a very prestigious law firm here in Los Angeles. We had a conversation, and I said to her that come here for a period of time, but while you're here, make sure that you leave your fingerprints on something. In a few short years, not only has she left her fingerprints, but her handprints, her footprints, and she is a part of this whole body politic, this civic endeavor that we call the City of Angels. I'm so proud to stand next to her. I'm so proud to be able to call her one of our city attorneys. It was referred to earlier that I'm her boss. Well, I'm not her boss. I've never thought of myself as her boss, but as her partner. And she has gone arm in arm with me. She does all the work, but gone arm in arm with me to solve what have been intractable problems that no one thought could be solved in the city. And she took them on with, as you all know, with zest and with pride and with an incredible dedication to doing the right thing every time. I'm actually not so sad that she's leaving, not because it's not a big void that she's going to leave. She is going to leave a huge void in the city attorney's office, but I'm so happy for her and her family. Everything that the future holds for her will be blessed, will be something that all of us will be proud of, and I look forward to being her partner well into the future, not just as part of the civic endeavor here, but as on many other activities that we might take on in the future and many other challenges that we will confront. And I know that if she's in the ball game, we have a very good chance of winning. So with that, I just want to say thank you to Cecilia for all that she's done for the City of Angels. Thank you so much.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. San Fernando Valley appreciates what you've done for them also. Out in Fallbrook Mall, I know there was a lot of issues, and I remember meeting in my office, and we resolved those, and your tenacity has always impressed me, your determination, and when you're here in executive session answering the questions, you've always been able to turn legalese into common sense so we would understand exactly the approach that we have to take to solve. And I was always been impressed with your ability to negotiate with the other side and come back with a satisfactory conclusion so everyone wins, so there's no losers in the final solution. I wish you well in your endeavors in the future. You're a very talented person. Maybe you'll come back to the government work someday, but you and your family, I wish the best for you in the future. And you have left your mark, you have left your fingerprint on those wonderful projects you've done in the environmental issues and also the quality of life issues as reflected out in the West San Fernando Valley. So I appreciate it. Folks of the Valley appreciate you. Folks of all Los Angeles appreciate you. The best to you and the family.
Ms. School.
Thank you, Mr. President. Cecilia and I have known each other for a very long time. We had the pleasure of working in Mayor Bradley's office together, along with Jane Blumenfeld and Linda Wade and many others. We had a great team there, and it was so nice to see, we call ourselves the Bradley Girls, that the Bradley Girls came back to City Hall in a variety of positions. But when Cecilia told me the other day that she was leaving, I was speechless, because I don't know about you colleagues, but whenever I had a problem, not that we don't love Rocky, because we do, but we'd call Cecilia. Even if it wasn't her expertise, even if it wasn't anything that she was responsible for, we would call Cecilia because, as Dennis Zine said, she could put it into simple terms and help us out. And most of all, we knew she had a heart and that she came from an advocacy background as well as a legal background, and that she had a knowledge base and people respected her whether they agreed with her or not. And it is a huge loss for us, but I know that you are going to give back in any way you can in your next endeavor, and that you are a part of not only the Bradley Girl family, but the city family, and also part of the Gruhl Schramm family. Our kids are going to grow up together, knowing one another. But both you and Priya and your wonderful daughter Shireen are going to know that they have she has wonderful parents who have cared about the future of the city, who have dedicated their life to the city, and who have worked long hours sometimes to do that. We love you very much and are very sad to see you go. And, but we know you'll be back here, maybe giving us a hard time standing right where you are now on some issue in the future. But congratulations on moving on to your next step in your life. You have a lot of fans here.
Mr. Labange.
Thank you, Mr. President, and Cecilia, thank you. I think what the city attorney said was so important. If you can't make a whole career of it, to come here and make an impression and to do the right thing is wonderful. To know that one time that you were a public servant as a city attorney, as one of the top city attorneys, that's a wonderful thing to leave. And I see your face and I see your emotion, because it is tough, because there's no greater place than the public place, and there's no greater fight to win than the public fight. You know, you may be out there at some big law firm doing some big deal, but it won't be like beating a situation for a neighborhood in the valley or something in the south part of the city or in my district or around, because there's nothing like winning for the public. So know that you did real well for those years that you served this city and the years previous when you were with Mr. Bradley's administration. And I'm just proud of you, because I remember seeing you grow up into such a position. And when I say that, because there's nothing like staff that works real hard around here and then one day get to the top. And you were absolutely at the top of the city attorney's office. Congratulations to you and your family. Thank you for your service to the city of Los Angeles.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Cecilia, you know, in an organization of 500 city attorneys, we have a lot of great attorneys in this city. But in any organization like that, there's always going to be a few shining stars that rise to the top. And a very smart city attorney is going to pick those attorneys to handle the ugliest, hardest cases to solve. And credit to Rocky is he realized your value in that he sent you in to solve the ugliest problems we have presented to us as a council over the years. And you came in and you solved many of those problems with great expertise and experience that you brought to the case and got us out of a lot of trouble many times. What I really appreciate, and I've been around here 25 years and seen a lot of city attorneys, but what I really appreciate about you, and what I want to tell you as a person, there's very few people that I put my absolute faith in. You are one of those very few people, because as you said in this table so many times, I knew the things you were telling us were, as my attorney, telling me the best thing to do. Not necessarily what you always believed personally was the best thing to do, but what was best for the city of LA, and as my attorney telling me what's the best thing to do to represent those 4 million people that we represent. And so I just want you to know that as you sat here all those years working with us, there's been very few people I respect more than you in your role as a deputy city attorney. And everything you said here, I trusted because I knew you were honest and straightforward with us every single time with no personal agenda. And I can't tell you how important that is to me, and I'm sure all of us here. So thank you for your honest, dedicated service. This is a big loss to the city of LA, but I hope to God we never have to face you in court either. So good luck to you.
Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to rise and say it was kind of interesting to hear the city attorney say that a top prosecutor left her fingerprints. We're used to seeing you lift fingerprints. The fact that you left some, we ought to be tracking that and figuring out how to keep you around here for a little bit longer. But, and I'm sure for people in the public right now, they have no idea how rare this session is to hear so many good things. Cecilia has always had to come in here and really tussle with the city council. And all the admiration and affection that you're hearing for her right now comes because she's been a fighter and she's really held her ground, and she's done it in a very ethical way and a way with principle. And so best of luck to you. In a short time, you made a big dent here. So congratulations, and look forward to seeing your star continue to rise.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say thank you for one thing, Cisco Brothers. You've done a wonderful job for us. That is something that for 18 months we've tried to figure out a solution. And although you've done a great job on Propo for the residents of the 8th District, there could be no better solution than what you put together for that economic development industrial area in the 8th District. And we just are appreciative and hope that as we move forward, when we have that international furniture mark there, that you will realize what role you played there. And so just want to say thank you in helping us on something that was very tenuous and tedious and would say legal intensive. And so we appreciate that.
Let me also add, they said this wasn't the goodbye, but it's sort of sounding like it, based on what everybody has talked about. You know, I couldn't say it any better than what Ms. Misikowski said during the presentation about we can't underemphasize or understate the role you played, not just on everything that led us to putting Measure O on the ballot and ensuring its success, but you obviously have a style and a capability and an intellect that is very, very rare and successful around here. Not just with Measure O, but on everything that you touch. You're like the Midas touch within the city attorney's office, for better or for worse, because sometimes they drag you into stuff that you aren't involved with originally, but we need you to help clean it up, put it back together. And then there's times when you get to take that issue from its infant stages and really make it something that the city ends up being proud of, and the people of Los Angeles are going to benefit from years to come. We won't get into specific issues. We will save something for the formal farewell or goodbye. But Cecilia, I just want you to know that I guess the best example I can think of is not too long ago, we lost somebody in the city attorney's office by the name of Tony Alpern. Whether you agreed with him or didn't agree with him, when something was Alpernized, it means it was beyond question and beyond reproach. And you're one of those people that when you come before this horseshoe, say these are the options, this is the analysis that's been done, it is beyond reproach. We know that you have the highest ethical standard, but also compound with that the strategy, the advocacy element of it to present our options. And when you have a solid recommendation, we know it's solid because we know that that's just the kind of person as well as attorney that you are. So thank you very, very much for your help on this, and we'll save some items for the formal farewell. And with that, Cecilia.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council, Rocky, thank you, and thank you, Councilmember Misikowski. I'm just really touched by this. I've been here 3 years, and I can honestly say the thing I'm most proud of is the settlement on the Baykeeper litigation and all the work we've done on environmental litigation. It was part of why I wanted to come work for the city, and when Rocky asked me what I wanted to work on, and he wanted me to work on economic development, I made sure that a condition of my employment was that I also got to do all the environmental stuff I wanted. And he let me run with it. And I have to say, you know, I've had so much support from Rocky. And at the end of this deal, Baykeeper would not have been done except for Rocky stepping in at the 11th hour and really holding the other side's feet to the fire. It was an impressive thing to watch, to get the big guy in at the last minute. The big guy, for sure. But I want to thank you members of the council because I'm not going to go on to all of this stuff, but because I know there are lots of people that need to be honored, but and it's Friday and you need to get out of here. But I do want to thank you for all of your support. You have been very, very generous with your time. You've been very patient when I've sat there and tried to explain things to you and try to break it down. You've also, the trust you've given me and the confidence in my work has made it so much more easy for me to go forth against the other side and get you a good deal. Because I know that I had your backing, and I know that if I came to you and said, I need you to stick with me just a little bit longer, you would be there. And Councilmember Misikowski, you were there for me, and a couple of, and particularly in this case, when it was tight, you know, you stood up, and Councilmember Parks as well, stood up and said, we got to stick with the city attorney on this one. And that's what made the difference on this lawsuit. And I can't thank you enough because I'm so proud of this lawsuit. This settlement is going to take this city into the next generation, investing in our infrastructure to have a world-class city for the next generation, and we should all be proud of that. But a couple other people I want to thank, the entire, the kind of environmental Baykeeper team, Adele Hodge-Khalil from Bureau of Sanitation, fabulous, we couldn't have got there without him, Jim Langley, Valerie Shaw, Commissioner Shaw, who had tremendous leadership, Chris Westhoff, who took us as far as he could go with this particular approach, and if he hadn't been there doing that, we couldn't have come in and settled this case. I want to also thank my partner, Priya Sridharan, who's here with my child, Shireen Valerie, there, who listened to a lot of frustration through all of these cases, and you have to have a strong partner to get through these negotiations. And I'd like to thank all the people in the city attorney's office who have taught me so much in the last 3 years, who were there for me. Every time I went in there, Patty Tubert, Cheryl Mason, a number of you, you would always make the time for me. You would always be very generous with your knowledge and expertise. And you let somebody who wasn't much of a lawyer come in and try to figure things out. And you were very, very, very generous with your expertise. And then I also would like to thank and introduce my mother, who's here today, Gloria Estolano. Because I couldn't be here if I didn't get the incredible education that I had that led me to this position, and I wouldn't have gotten that education without my mother saying that we would go to college, that education was the most important thing, and that for Latinos it was the most important thing. So I owe it all to my mother and my father. And now I'm too emotional, so thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Misikowski. Colleagues, before proceeding to the next presentation, let's go through the agenda and dispense with consent items. Mr. Clerk, first order of business, please.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Gruhl moves, Mr. Smith seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Garcetti moves, and Mr. Ludlow seconds.
Before beginning the regular agenda, there's been a request to continue items 2, 3, and 4 to December 7th.
Okay, members request to continue items 2, 3, and 4. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Next items, please.
On item 5, there's been a request to refer that matter back to the Rules and Elections Committee.
Any objection, members, to referring item 5 back to committee? Seeing none, that item is so referred. Next item, please.
There's also been a request to continue item 25 for 2 weeks to November 19th.
Members request to continue item 25. Seeing no objection, item 25 is also continued. Next item, please.
On the regular agenda, item 1 is a public convenience or necessity item in Council District 6. A motion is required to grant or deny the application.
Okay, and I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council on item number 1. Public hearing is open and closed. Mr. Cardenas?
Just move that we adopt, that the council adopt the following recommendations on the public convenience necessity.
Okay.
To grant the application?
Yes.
We have a motion on item number 1. Any further discussion? Seeing none, let's open the roll on item number 1. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, please.
Items 6 through 17 are items for which public hearings have been held. The Personnel Committee has submitted a report on item 6, and on items 16 and 17, a motion is required inasmuch as the recommendations differ.
Okay, Mr. Parks moves the Budget and Finance Committee reports on items 16 and 17. Budget and Finance Committee reports on 16 and 17.
Budget and Finance 16 and 17.
Right. So those will be the action items to be considered on 16 and 17. Let's hold item 6 temporarily on the desk. And on the balance of the items, members, do we have any other specials? Public hearings have been held on these items. Any other specials? Seeing none, let's open the roll on those items, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Items 18 through 27, with the exception of 25, are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
And I do have cards on items 23. Let's call that special. On the balance of the items, I do not have requests from members of the public to address the council. Public hearings are open and closed. Oh, the card just came in on 22. We'll call that special as well. On 18 through 21, 24, 26, and 27, do we have any requests for specials? 27, call special by Mr. Cardenas. Any other specials? Seeing none, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item, please.
On the continuation agenda, item 28 is an item notice for public hearing.
Okay, and we do have a card on item 28. We'll call that special. Next item, please.
That would clear the items.
Okay. Returning now to presentations for today, Mr. Cardenas.
Good morning, Los Angeles and members of the council. I just wanted to take this opportunity to express our gratitude for the National Chavez Center, which has provided social consciousness to not only the public, but to more importantly, to the children of this country. Through this extraordinary museum, kids learn about the sweat and tears that were shed to provide the very food sitting on our dinner tables every single day. Through this extraordinary museum, our kids learn, and their families also learn, about a modern-day American hero that fought for farm workers and who gave us a very righteous and truthful mantra, Sí se puede. Can we roll the tape?
Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. On a thin thread high, silent stand of this puppet's private life. Oh, a frozen dream on a frozen strand.
The words "sí se puede," meaning it can be done,
can be heard in classrooms across the country. Spoken by the civil rights leader Cesar Chavez, these words have become a mission statement for children of all ages. Now this modern-day American hero has jumped from the pages of their textbooks and into a beautiful interactive museum. In 2004, the National Chavez Center opened its doors to the public. I was honored to charter the first group of kids from the Los Angeles Unified School District to the center. Do you know the names of any heroes? Any heroes you've read about in books? Yes.
Superman,
Batman, Spider-Man, Cesar Chavez, he's a real-life hero. About 350 students from the San Fernando Valley joined me in getting a closer look at a man who fought for farm workers and better working conditions for everyone. We were introduced to him not just through the eyes of a camera, but through the eyes of his own son, Paul Chavez.
That's the whole purpose behind the centers. If we can get across those values, right, they apply to everybody, not little Chicano, not just little Chicano kids and farm workers, but to everybody from every walk of life.
The Cesar Chavez Center sits on 180 acres at Nuestra Señora Reina de la Paz. It's a tree haven tucked away in Keene, California, and about 30 miles east of Bakersfield. This striking piece of land was Cesar's home for 20 years, land that was worked by his very own sun-kissed hands. A reminder of what some of our own fathers did, also in search of a better tomorrow.
But you can see, I mean, this is for people, this is where people, it's an example of where people live, after working long, hard days in the fields. Now, the thing about it, right, and I think the thing that still gets me angry is that you can see that the people lived here, people like your father and my grandparents and my parents, they worked and they gave the best of their lives to make somebody very wealthy, and when it was time for them to retire, they really had nothing to show for it.
Absolutely.
Photographs of old farm workers, right?
Look at the smile.
After all of that. It would have beaten me down, right?
Exactly. And another thing too, people think that farm workers, because they don't have much of an education, that they're not professionals.
Oh,
you got to be good at what you do.
Especially if you're working piece rate, right?
Yeah.
He worked harder than anybody I knew, and so when Tony talked about his parents working hard, that's my dad, and I think that's your dad and your moms and your tios and tias, right? And so if there's a lesson to be learned here is that we can make a difference. We can make a difference, we can make this place better, but nobody's gonna come from outside and solve it for us. We gotta go out and work hard. So that's why it's important that when you leave this place, hopefully you're gonna leave thinking that you have a lot of opportunities in front of you, but more importantly, that when you go to do your schoolwork, you're gonna work real hard.
Thanks to the Chavez family, now there is a place where kids can come and get a first-hand look at Cesar's life, and more importantly, his values. Now there is a place where we can also visit his gravesite and pay respect to the modern-day American hero that gave us a new mantra, Sí se puede.
Oh, pala. A trabajar.
A pico and a pala.
Oh.
And sometimes the dirt was so hard, we used to use, I don't know what you call them, but they're just a big rod.
The bars, yeah.
The bar, we used to, with the flat end,
Yeah.
we used to use the bars. We used to get up before the sun and get home after the sun and start it over again.
No. It's you're going to use it right. This is my dad, and he would sit there and give his lectures and do it, and so he didn't like people to be lazy.
Exactly.
He had no tolerance for it, right?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the National Chavez Center and my staff for putting that piece together. That piece actually came together as we decided to take 350 kids from the LA Unified School District to go visit the center. And it's my understanding it's the first kids from LA who went to go visit the center because it opened up only this year in April. And the fact of the matter is we wanted to put something together to show Los Angeles that you too can visit the center. It's not that far away. It is out in the country, but it is not that far away. It's a day trip for the kids. And we, as you saw on the tape, I was asking some of the kids questions, and they knew a little bit about Cesar Chavez, but you should have seen them. They were like little parrots, just saying everything that they could about Cesar Chavez, but they were saying it in a way that they were excited. They were saying it in a way that they could identify with him. They were saying it in a way that actually I think was transforming these little minds to say, you know what, si se puede, I can do it too. So please, members of the council and Los Angeles, visit this center, and now we're going to hear from some wonderful, wonderful human beings. You can't carry a legacy as profound as this unless you have people who are truly dedicated. And the first one I'd like to introduce to you today is Teresa Delgado Chavez, and she's in charge of the National Chavez Center. Teresa?
Thank you very much, and we want to thank Tony for coming out with the children, and it was the first visit from Los Angeles County, and we hope that we have many more visits. We'll be getting some information out to all of you on the center and how you can come yourselves and bring some school children, and we have most of our information available on the web to you, so we want to thank you again for bringing the children.
Thank you, Teresa.
So Mr. Garcetti wants to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I know Andres is about to speak as well. And we have to congratulate another member of the Chavez family, your sister, I believe, and Andres, who just had a child this week. So congratulations on that as well, another daughter. And I want to thank Mr. Cardenas. It's an incredible production that you put there. And to see, I mean, when you hear the Batman, Superman, Cesar Chavez, you really were able to teach these young people that those are abstract heroes. This is a real one. And the great work that the Chavez Foundation has been doing, I think, in establishing a model out here, based on some that we've seen other places in the country, but truly a unique model as well, is something that for the ages will last and inspire generations to come. So congratulations and thank you for your presence here today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilman Garcetti. As I mentioned earlier, it takes extraordinary people to dedicate themselves full-time to making sure that this legacy not only continues to live on, but that it grows. I'd like to introduce to you Andres Irlando, President of the Cesar Chavez Foundation.
Thank you, Councilmember Cardenas and the members of the City Council. I want to, in front of all of you and in front of the City of Los Angeles, recognize Councilman Cardenas, not just for this trip and this wonderful video, which I had not seen and came out tremendously well. Yes, absolutely. We'll show it at the center. But some of you might know that when Councilman Cardenas was a member of the State Assembly, he was budget chair for a time. And during that time, we were seeking the initial funding for this center, which I think we all agree is exactly what we wanted to build, but it's very expensive, and it took a lot of resources to build. And we were having difficulty freeing up some monies that had been allocated to us from the state, and it was Councilman Cardenas, when he was Assemblyman Cardenas, who helped us successfully free up almost $2 million to initially fund the building of this first phase. So for this recognition and for this trip, I want to recognize you, but I really want to recognize you for the hard work that you did when you were in the Assembly to make sure that we would have a National Chavez Center to be able to share with so many young people and others. I have 2 more. I also want to recognize, she's been recognized, but I want to recognize Teresa Chavez Delgado, who is our site director, who is most responsible for the current content and the future content of the center. I would also be remiss if I didn't recognize a few of your colleagues who have been profoundly supportive, in addition to Councilman Cardenas, on a year-round basis by supporting us through something called our Founding Members Program. And that would be Councilman Villaraigosa, Councilman Weiss, Council President Padilla, and Councilman Ludlow, who have been very supportive of the work that we've been doing on a year-round basis with their own money. We're just here today to tell you that the center is open. It's incredibly important to us that Angelenos take advantage of this center. As many of you know, there's a historic connectedness between Cesar Chavez and the city of Los Angeles. Not only is this the place from where so many ardent supporters of Cesar and his movement came, but this is the place where he cut his teeth as an organizer. This is where he learned to organize in the 1950s and the 1960s through the Community Service Organization. And for so many of us who worked for Cesar Chavez and knew him, this is where we were sent to learn how to organize and to fight for farm workers and other disenfranchised and poor people in our society. So it's very important to us that Angelenos take advantage of this center. It's only 2 hours away. It's an easy trip by day. We're open 6 days a week. And we'd be happy to work with individual offices and the city in general to figure out ways to expose more people to the center, particularly our young people, so that they never forget not just the life, the work, the history of Cesar Chavez, but more importantly, they never forget the values, the philosophies, those things that can be taken from his life and applied to today's world and to address social justice issues today. So thank you, Councilman Cardenas, for having us, for bringing the kids, and for this wonderful video.
Thank you very much. Let me get the resolution.
Mr. Dudlow.
Just very, very quickly, thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Cardenas, for this presentation, and then just want to say congratulations on all the work that you have been doing. And also, I know on a personal level, congratulate you on making a tough decision announcing your campaign for Lieutenant Governor. So we wish you the best of luck, Andres, as you continue to strive for bigger and heavier responsibilities. But congratulations, and thank you for all your work.
At this time, I'd like to, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, dedicate this resolution to the National Chavez Center and all the wonderful people who make it a reality, to make sure that we remind our children to follow the life and the legacy of such a humble, wonderful human being like Cesar Chavez is something that we would all like our children to aspire to be. So thank you very much, and we dedicate this resolution to you. Thank you.
We recognize Mr. Dudlow for our next presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask all the Dorsey High School football players and cheerleaders to come on up. LAPD, LAUSD, let's give them a round of applause. Dorsey High School. We have just a few things we're going to do here this morning, so colleagues, bear with me. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge that this isn't just the Dorsey football team, but this is the 7-1 Dorsey football team. I want to give them a round of applause. We have, as many of you know, earlier in the month, just actually last week, there was a long-standing tradition between Crenshaw and Dorsey, where they have played each other in a crosstown rivalry. And Councilmember Parks actually is a man of his word. He kept his word. Had Crenshaw beaten Dorsey, I was going to wear a Crenshaw jersey. And if Dorsey beat Crenshaw, Bernard was going to wear a Dorsey jersey. And on Tuesday, after the game, he came in with his Dorsey jersey on because Dorsey beat Crenshaw. Now, this isn't just any ordinary game, and we want to really enjoy this today because as you all know, one of the oldest traditions, and Councilman Rivera Gosa has done this, Greg Smith has done this. I believe there have been a couple of council members that have brought in some of our great high school football teams to acknowledge great accomplishments. And this is a great, great tradition for the City Council to continue doing. We have legends amongst us, legend Coach Knox, who's been there at Dorsey for 20 years, who we're going to absolutely. But one of the main reasons that we wanted to also acknowledge today, Coach and the great principal, Bartleson of Dorsey, is that we all heard, as many of you were aware, that this game was threatened. At a time when a country really prides itself on homeland security and homeland defense, these young guys behind me were actually told that this game may not take place because a couple thugs in the community started threatening some of the players and some of the kids and putting gang graffiti up on walls and making it so intense that there was a question by the school district as whether or not this game should in fact take place. We held a press conference. We got together with the school police. We got together with LAPD, Lieutenant Whittingham, who was here, and we in Department of Transportation, a number of city agencies joined together with the LA Unified School District, and we said to these kids what so many kids have never even had to worry about. They've always taken it for granted, that your game is going to take place, and that game did take place, and it took place in grand fashion with Dorsey winning the game. And so I just want to say that all of us here today, and I know Councilmember Cardenas is passionate about this, Ed Reyes, Bernard Parks, each and every one of us, Wendy Gruhl, are passionate about making sure that kids in our community have the safest opportunities to go to school, learn. If they want to take advantage of extracurricular activities, whether it be drama, whether it be theater, whether it be sports, that they get a chance to do that. And when these kids stood tall, as you can see, that's not hard for them to do, and said, we want this game to play, we want it to be held, we made sure that that took place. And so I want to hand out some accolades today. First and foremost, I want to start with the coach, and I know that I probably messed this up because we're going to put this in the wrong order. But first, I know there are a number of you here today that have great history with Coach Knox. Many of you have much longer history than I do. And I wanted to just mention very, very quickly that Councilmember Rivera Gosa's staff member, Jimmy Blackman, came up to me a little bit earlier and reminded me of a young man by the name of Copeland that many of you recognized had passed from a heart condition on the sideline of Dorsey's football game right there in 1989. And he was such an amazing young man with such an amazing story that Coach Knox and Dorsey High School named the weight room after this young man. And to this day, it's my understanding that Coach Knox continues to use the life of this player as a way of motivating his team and a way of reminding them how important and precious life is, and how it is not just about winning and losing, but it's how you play the game. And so I wanted to take this moment to recognize you, not just for a victory over Crenshaw, but your victory in continuing to inspire young men to pursue their dreams and live out their dreams. As we know, many Dorsey High School football players have not only gone on to play in the NFL, gone on to great careers in collegiate football, but they've also gone on to be just great citizens of this wonderful country because of your leadership. Coach Knox, thank you for 20 years of great leadership.
Mr. Dudlow, I'm sorry, he can't contain himself. Mr. Parks just really wants to speak on this thing right now.
Absolutely.
No, I just want to say to Dorsey, great game. Although you ruined Crenshaw's homecoming last year, the first game that they had under the lights, we still want to say great team work, great game. You represented, no, I'll mess up my hair. I don't want to do that. But no, I just want to say congratulations. Coach Knox, for years, you've accepted some ball players that we had at Baldwin Hills Youth Football, turned them into high school and then college ball players and on to the pros. And we want to say thank you for your long-term service. But I was very pleased with the fact that LAPD and LA Unified School District Police came out and made sure our kids could have a game in the community where they deserve to play. And although I've had to eat crow twice in 1 week, I was in Detroit and had to go to the city council of Detroit and explain to them why the Lakers lost last year. Now I have to come and explain why Crenshaw lost 2 years in a row. So it's not been a good week for the 8th District. But I just want to say that young people at Crenshaw, you have a great coach, great administration, and people who care for you. Keep up the good work, and you are what represent the city of Los Angeles and our community very well. And often, in many instances, we get bad press. And as I always tell people, the greatest thing, the way you know that you're in a positive event in South Los Angeles, because there's no media coverage. But if you should do something wrong, you'll be filmed at 11. And so thank you for holding up that bargain and the reason that we work so hard to get that game and keep it in the community and not send it to a site where there were no fans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. And then if I can, Mr. President, we've got a number of people we'd like to acknowledge who all played a part in making this game happen. So before the other colleagues speak, if I could just finish, and then I think it'll help people frame their acknowledgments and accolades, because a lot of people took a part in this great, great accomplishment. I'd like to just also acknowledge one of the toughest jobs in America is being a high school principal in an urban school. And Dorsey High School is obviously not an exception to that, but we have been very, very blessed and very fortunate to have a great, great principal at Dorsey. He has been very supportive, helped convene a very important planning session in the library the week of this game, where it looked like a presidential briefing in there. We had every agency in the city at the table. A lot of parents were there. Our school board member, Marguerite Lamont, was there. And this principal made it very clear to all of us in that room that he wasn't as much concerned about well, I shouldn't say this. He didn't say this, that he was as concerned about who won or lost. He was really concerned about the safety of his students. And he made that abundantly clear to every member of law enforcement that was at the table. He made it very clear to me, Councilman, if we go forward with this game, we need to make sure that these children come to this game safely and go back safely. And Councilman Parks, he wasn't just concerned about Dorsey. He made very, very clear that the care and concern and protection of Crenshaw students was at the top of the list as their bus and caravan moved forward through the city of LA. And so on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, I'd like us all to stand in tribute and give a warm round of applause to the principal of Dorsey High School, George Bartleson. Then, as was mentioned, this was an amazing effort by a variety of agencies to come together. We wanted to acknowledge not only the Department of Transportation of the City of LA, Operation Clean Sweep, who played a major role in removing graffiti throughout the area. We had just a great, great turnout from all city departments, and I really want to thank from the bottom of my heart the level of cooperation that we received in making sure that this game went on as scheduled. In addition to that, however, at the helm of the effort to keep this facility safe were two individuals that really mobilized a professional delegation of law enforcement individuals. First, I would like to take a moment to recognize the chief of the LA School Police, who did just an amazing job of bringing all of his team members together. They had a briefing at Dorsey High School 2 days before, 1 day before. His team came out and had a briefing on the field. They worked like hand in glove with LAPD and all the different agencies that were there. And so I'd like to bring the chief forward just for a moment and say, Chief, without you, this couldn't have been done, but we know that you didn't do this just at Dorsey that night. You also had some of the same concerns happening in Carson and throughout the city of LA, throughout the LA Unified School District. And so not only being very ambidextrous, but you also very professional, and you made sure that thousands of kids throughout Los Angeles on that Friday night went to games safely and came home safely. And for that, the city of LA stands in tribute and honor to you. Thank you so much, Chief. We appreciate your leadership. And then finally, we obviously couldn't have done this, and I know that the chief made it very clear. The only way that this game could go forward is if he was able to get the backup and the support of the Los Angeles Police Department. And I want to thank publicly Chief Bratton. I want to thank Deputy Chief Earl Pasinger. I want to thank Captain Kyle Jackson of Southwest. But the man who was on the ground, who really made it happen, who was coordinating people throughout the area, shutting down streets and making sure that people were really monitored, but at the same time, very professionally engaging with the fans, because he knew that there were parents and family members who were coming to watch their children play, watch their nieces perform out on the sideline with the cheerleaders, and the nephews perform on the field. I want to just thank not only Lieutenant Whittingham, but the entire Southwest Safer Cities gang unit who came out in grand fashion. They're all here today. And I did want to also acknowledge at the same time the individual officers of the LA School Police. Even though we've got two command staff here today, both of these command staff will tell you that the men and women standing here in uniform who are patrolling the streets and the perimeter really made it happen. And so we want to particularly thank each and every one of you, but particular I promoted you, Lieutenant Whittingham, for all of your leadership in the Safer Cities unit. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to bring the team captain, Keith Charles, forward. Let's give our team captain a round of applause. Now, before he says a couple words, team captain, there are a couple of council members here that would like to speak to you and Coach Knox and to all the people that made this happen. So I'll follow the president's lead.
The first question is, did Dorsey happen to play Marshall High School during the season?
No, we did not play Marshall High School this season.
Because if you did, you would have heard from this next council member right here.
No, thank you very much. And Captain, good to see you. Marshall's not in the same class as the great Dorsey High School. You have a great coach in Paul Knox for 20 years and the youth program. And just yesterday at a press conference, or the day before, it's been a fast week, when Chief Bratton of the police department was talking about the defeat of our need to get more police. He talked about intervention programs and the need to have that with us all the time, which is good to hear, because it's a teamwork effort, as we see here. But you have a great councilman right there, but he did everything right. But he forgot one guy he should have called up here, number 55, Tim LeBerth. Is that right? Did I say that right, Timothy? Move up here, Timothy, because Timothy right here, I just want to say, right here.
You're upstaging us.
No, I'm not. I just want to say one thing. What position is the captain?
Quarterback.
Right, but where does it start? It starts with the center. I want to salute all centers for all the work they do. They snap the ball. If it wasn't for the center, the game doesn't start. Coach Knox, Captain Martin, all the LA School Police, and all the Southwesters. Say hi to Captain Jackson, too. I know he had a hand in it. Thank you all. And Steve Bagley, the Alumni Association of Dorsey. Great school, Dorsey High School. Congratulations.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to the fine members of the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles School Police, and Dorsey. It's a wonderful combination when you have a council member working with the community, the schools, the LAPD, the school police, and everyone's working together to make it a safe environment. And that's what Martin Ludlow, the council member, is all about. You should be a reserve police officer, Martin, because you love making the community safe. You should join Councilmember Smith, Councilmember Zine, and join the LAPD reserves, because we're out recruiting. And you would be a perfect reserve officer standing alongside these other fine members of the LAPD.
I just want to know, do I pass the height requirement, though? I don't know if I can get past.
Join LAPD.com. But on all seriousness, I know that Chief Mannion, who I worked with many years at LAPD, all the wonderful work you've done with the school police and how that relationship has merged with the Los Angeles Police Department, how you've got a partnership that's been built. So my hat's off to all the members of law enforcement that helped make it a safe environment, because people were fearful, and when there's fear, there's apprehension, and you did a stellar job to make sure that this event was successful and people had what they wanted, peace of mind. So my congratulations to Dorsey for all the wonderful work you do. Maybe in the future you can play Marshall, because Councilmember Labange is always waving the flag Marshall High. And those of you at Dorsey, you're going to be going on to bigger things in life, going on to universities, going on to professional sports, whatever the case may be, police officers, doctors, lawyers, and all these members of the LAPD are there in that community and all of Los Angeles, making it safe for every single one of us. So hats off to Dorsey, law enforcement, LAPD, LA Unified School District Police, to all of you. Congratulations for a job well done.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank the Dorsey High School coaches, team parents, and the administrators for their hard work. And without them, it wouldn't be possible, our success. Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge our football team for the hard work we put in the long hours. This is going to lead us to the city championship. The journey isn't done. And lastly, I'd like to thank everybody here at the city that made it possible for us to play Crenshaw at home. And I thought that was a perfect opportunity to show that our community could conduct themselves in a way that wasn't that wasn't harmful to anybody's safety or life, for that matter. So I'd like to thank you guys.
Let's hear from the great Coach Knox.
Well, I certainly appreciate coming up. I want to thank all of the law enforcement agencies and other agencies from the city that were involved in enabling us to play our game at home. That was our goal all the time, to be able to conduct a home game at night with two outstanding teams playing each other for the league championship. And we were able to have an outstanding game, no problems at all. Everybody had a good time. And the people that were fortunate enough to come saw an outstanding football game that went all the way down to the last possession. So I thank everybody, the school police, LAPD, the council members, both who got into the fray and made sure that we were able to have that game at home, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, I know they got to get back to school, and like a great principal, he's pushing us to get them back to school because they do have a game tonight. But let's hear from the principal of Dorsey High School.
Thank you, Maine Councilman Ludlow. It's a great day to be a Dorsey Don. On behalf of the faculty, staff, parents, and students, I want to thank Councilman Ludlow for making this possible, for your leadership, coming in and making sure that this is what it's about. Teenagers enjoying Friday night football. It was a good game. It was an enjoyable evening of competition. The only activity that we had was the action that was on the football field, and that's the way it should be. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for the Southwest Division, School Police, for your support in this activity for teenagers. Thank you.
And now for the grand finale. We're going to ask the front line to come on up here. Can we get the starting front line up here, front and center? And your team captain up there. Come on, let's get you guys up here in front. You got it right there? All right, let's give them a round of applause. We're going to have the war prayer. Front and center, live on TV. And while they're getting ready, great hand for the great parents of Dorsey High School. Parents did a great job. Parents, thank you for being here. You guys should know the parents were out on the field with vests on, security vests on. Parents were helping out there on that field to make sure that that game went off well. So now we're going to hear the war prayer from the Dorsey Dons.
To everybody just tuning in at home, welcome to the Dorsey High School Pep Rally at Los Angeles City Hall. Mr. Ludlow does have one more presentation. Let's give it a minute here to clear out the previous presentation. Good luck tonight, Dorsey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Dorsey for their enthusiasm. I just want to say, watch out, Locke High School. They're coming at you. Okay. We're going to just let it settle down a little bit in the chambers. I know they're excited. Thank you, Mr. President. Shifting gears, another celebration that we'd like to acknowledge today. Want to acknowledge, believe it or not, the retirement of Ms. Barbara Glenn Green, who is celebrating 25 years of service to the West Boulevard Child Development Center in the heart of the 10th Council District. And we wanted to bring her into the City Council today to really thank her for her years of service to the City of LA. In reading Barbara's bio, there are a couple things that really stand out. One is volunteering at the center. Really ignited a passion in her, not only as a mother, but a working mother, to get involved and try to pursue ideas about helping children in Mid-City Los Angeles. Her skills as a teacher really excelled in this field, and she quickly promoted to the position of Assistant Director of the Child Development Center. While serving as the Assistant Director, she experienced a tragedy, suddenly losing her husband from a fatal heart attack. And through that tragedy, really persevered through great odds and personal sacrifice, and continued raising her family as a single parent, and at the same time pursuing her own career goals. In 3 short years after that, she was appointed to the position of Director of the Child Development Center and has remained there ever since. While at the center, she's continued to work tirelessly at a community-based child development center with limited funding, and has fought through some very, very challenging and difficult times to ensure that the doors could stay open for many, many young children in the heart of Mid-City LA. We wanted to thank her today, not only for 25 years of great service, but also for her passion for young people. And as so many of us have recognized First Five and all of the work that many of you have been doing, working with the leadership of First Five to really keep the doors open for young people and really the most vulnerable of society. We wanted to take a moment to recognize this very momentous occasion. She's here with many of her friends and supporters and colleagues who have worked with her over the years. But we'd like to say, Barbara, congratulations. We're concerned that you're not going to actually stop working when you retire. Your friends and family say find a way to take at least a day off in your retirement. But on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, we wanted to take this moment to recognize you for all of your work, all that you've given back. We know that no level of compensation could ever equal the amount of work that you've given and provided to young children in Los Angeles. So Barbara, congratulations on 25 years of service. Thank you. Thank you. Let me turn this around. Let you say a couple words. Say a couple words. Come on in.
I'd just like to say thank you to the City of Los Angeles and the Community Development Department, Special Service for Groups, and West Boulevard Child Development Center. I mean, they saved my life, all of you. You know, I look around here and I say, God, was it 25 years? You know, but the children, I mean, they make you want to go on and on and on. And I really appreciate everything everybody's done for me. Naomi, Herbert Hatanaka, Gloria Clark, and the members of the Community Development Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Dudlow. For our next presentation, let me recognize Councilmember Labange.
Thank you, Martin. Great inspiration to bring that great community leader and Dorsey High, but I have someone very special. Chad Allen, please join me here at the podium here. Chad Allen is a great citizen of Los Angeles, and he's here because he's dedicated and he helps support those who are visually handicapped, those who have challenges, who've seen, because we want to celebrate White Cane Safety Day. As you know, in our country, it's very important to have public outreach to inform people about the need of those who are visually impaired. And Chad has been that leader for us, and I wanted to invite him down here as we salute this White Cane Safety Day and ask that all members of council and their staffs share that message to your community organizations, the importance of those with white cane. I remember in the years in technology and medicine and the ability to cure has improved greatly over the years. But there is those who have challenges, but still make it around this city as you do, Chad. You make it around this city almost as good as I do, and you do a wonderful job. So, members, I would like to just call the attention to the great White Cane Safety Day on this day and ask that we salute all those who get involved to inform the public about awareness for those who are visually handicapped on this day. I thank you, and Chad, I certainly thank you for coming down, and I hope you enjoy that Dorsey High School cheer there.
Thank you very much.
All right, here we go. Give Chad a better hand, folks. Good. You want to say something, Chad?
Yes, I would. Right here. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Councilmember LaBonge for giving me the opportunity to speak and to receive this proclamation in council. As a blind person, blind adult, it is important for me to be able to travel throughout the community, to be able to do the things that I need to do. Without this proclamation, it's hard to recognize some of the things that the blind community is capable of doing in this 21st century. As the philosophy of blindness has evolved and the technology continues to progress, and the ways and techniques that people have taught rehabilitation, there is a lot of movement forward in the blind community. To be able to travel independently throughout society is a necessary element for employment and for a quality of life that we enjoy. And I'd like to share, October was a Meet the Blind month, so to speak. And we had the National Federation of the Blind had its state convention in Irvine, California, as well as radio interviews talking about our philosophy as a blind community. And also we did one thing that was, I consider to be very special. One of the areas in your district, council member, is Runyon Canyon, which is a very exciting place that you can go up to and hike and get a view of the entire Hollywood area. And a group of blind people regularly go up there and hike that trail. And one day this month, we had the opportunity to pass out some pamphlets about our organization and the things that we do. And we had a really great time sharing some fellowship with some people up at the top of the mountain. One of the things that we have been able to do is meet some of the regulars that go to this, to Runyon Canyon and hike. One person in particular, by the name of Stuff, is what he calls himself. And at first, when Stuff met us and seeing us climbing these trails and doing these complex, travel routes and things like that, he was so amazed. He looked at us and went, wow, a blind person being able to travel up here independently. That's amazing. Well, the reality of the situation is after we started doing it when we did it the first time, it was amazing. But when we started meeting him there every week on a regular basis, we just became one of the people that went up there and enjoyed the opportunity to get some exercise and travel. And that's what kind of it is all about, is just saying that, you know what, blind people can do it too. And thank God that there is an opportunity in the United States for blind people to show that they can do these things in society and they can be independent. And that even under a circumstance such as blindness, which a lot of people don't understand, you can do it. You can overcome even this and do everything that you want to do in life. And to be a member of this community, it has been a very educational experience for myself. I got a lot of training and spent a lot of time learning about the different people and problems that blindness face, but at the same time, some of the solutions as well. And one of these solutions is this proclamation saying that with a white cane, I can travel independently and freely just like you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chad. Thank you. Mr. President, members, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come on in the back.
Okay.
Ms. Gruhl.
Thank you, Mr. President, and this is a surprise today for this recipient of this resolution. He doesn't know we're doing this, but I'd like to have Bob Schoonover, as well as other representatives from the SEIU, to come up here. Yes, give a great big round of applause. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Colleagues, today we recognize not only a fine city worker and a lifelong Angelino, but someone who has fought hard for workers' rights, and a resident of the 2nd Council District, I might add. Robert Schoonover began his career with the City of Los Angeles on April 2nd, 1979, and in April of 2004 celebrated 25 years of service for the City of Los Angeles. Bob currently works as a heavy-duty equipment mechanic out of the North Hollywood shop on the night shift. He's surprised here. Bob, his wife of 25 years, Peggy, who just joined us, and his 2 daughters, looks like mom and dad, yes, have lived in Sunland since 1980. In 1982, Bob began a 15-year stint coaching girls softball at Sunland Park. He also coached the Verdugo Hills High School team, where his daughters attended high school. Bob took the Verdugo Hills team all the way to the city championship for the first time in the team's history, with Shannon as the pitcher. But Bob became an active union member and shop steward in 1980 and served as a bargaining team member in every one of Local 347's contract negotiations since 1982. 1986, Bob was elected to the Board of Trustees of Local 347, the largest civilian employee union in the city of Los Angeles, and in 2001 was elected president of the union. And today we're here to recognize that leadership. And I was reading the proclamation as I was waiting to present it, and although it is very lengthy, I want to take a few moments just to read a portion of it that I think speaks volumes about Bob's leadership. Whereas Bob Schoonover has grown to become a leader respected by all, he is solid, sane, wise, and practical. He's the kind of guy that doesn't say much, but Bob is recognized as a leader, and they listen to him when he speaks. He is a leader who leads through action. He never expects anyone to do anything he would not do himself first. He is steadfast. If the union is in a fight, he will be there until it's resolved. And Bob is true to his word. SEIU as an organization not only has fought for workers' rights, but also to help us around the horseshoe make the city better. They've given their members, our employees, a voice to recognize and communicate efficiencies so that we can all provide better, high-quality services to our constituents. And I just want to say from personal experience in my brief time on the City Council that working with SEIU, working with all of the members, they have been willing to stand up and say, how can we do things better in the City of Los Angeles? And that is something to be proud of. And today we're most proud of Bob Schoonover, his family, and for his leadership as president. So let's give Bob a great big round of applause. You get to say a few words.
I must say, for one of the very few times in my life, I'm absolutely surprised and shocked. Absolutely 100%. I was back there thinking about what I might say about the contract we just negotiated, and this whole thing just floored me. I'm just so honored. I do just want to say one thing that, this bargaining team that I worked with on this last contract, I've been through every contract negotiation for approximately 20 years. And this team, 347s, and actually from the CAO's office, probably worked harder and put in longer hours than any group of people I've ever been associated with. And I'm really proud of the team behind me, and I'm almost speechless here. I cannot, I cannot believe this actually happened. Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas. Mr. Cardenas.
I just wanted to thank Wendy for appropriately recognizing a wonderful individual and someone who is, in my opinion, very humble and really behind the scenes and really listens to the people that he represents, and you do a wonderful job. I've had the pleasure of knowing you, Bob, and getting to know your work and the wonderful, wonderful work that you do for the people who have elected you to be the one that is there in the forefront to make sure that they are taken care of and they're respected and they have a dignified way of feeding their family, which is to go to work every day and to work hard and to be able to come home and be proud of the fact that they have a good relationship with their employer and they are doing a wonderful job. You are all doing a wonderful job, and you have a great person representing you. Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me too congratulate Bob and thank Wendy and welcome your parents here as well. We had a chance to chat a little bit yesterday and want to thank all of 347 for their great support of Proposition O too, which will mean a lot to city workers, but is the second highest initiative in city history that passed just following the zoo. But you've always been there, the men and women of 347. I'll save most of my comments for the contract stuff, which I know is coming up at number 6 and is agendized as such, but I'm sure the best way we can honor you today is with a unanimous vote on number 6, but congratulations.
Mr. Smith.
Well, congratulations, Bob. And I just, got to really know you about a year and a half ago when you and I went down to sit down and have coffee and talk about my campaign for the city council and my effort to get SEIU support. And we sat there for maybe 2 hours talking in the coffee shop just about things, about city workers and what they're doing and how they're doing. And I went back to my staff and said, what a really neat guy, just down to earth, a real straight shooter, no real agenda other than obviously representing the union, but just sitting there talking as two good guys about things that are important to the city of LA and the people you represent. And I went back to the staff and said, I know why this guy was elected, because he's just a straight shooter, down to earth, neat guy. And I think we built up a good relationship that day. A lot of coffee we drank that morning, but I know why you're there. You're there because you're one of the people that you represent. You don't carry any airs about you at all. You're just a decent guy, and I enjoyed working with you. And I thank SEIU particularly for your support, but also it was a pleasure working with you this past year and a half, and you're a great representative of the people of SEIU. Thank you so much for serving.
Thank you.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wendy, thank you for bringing this about. Oftentimes, we look at the SIU employees every single day working those hard, difficult tasks, rain or shine, all year round, and sometimes they question, do the elected officials really recognize? Well, clearly we do recognize. We recognize the significance of SEIU. I know the lady standing right next to you to the right used to kick me out of the parking lot when I tried to get in that parking lot. You right there. She said, you're not a councilman yet, you can't park here. But you were doing your job in a very positive. No, you always let me sneak in and park. I appreciate that. Because I showed you my badge, and you said, okay, you can park anywhere, you're a police officer. But in all seriousness, the job that has been done for the people of Los Angeles has been tremendous. And the representation of SIU, when it comes to negotiations, and being the personnel chair, know how difficult that is oftentimes when it comes to negotiation, when it comes to the conditions that need to be improved. And this council is very, very supportive, because when you benefit, the community benefits, Los Angeles benefits. So my hat's off to you. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the SIU. And it's always impressive when you see the workers, the members of the workforce, come and show their support and their acknowledgement. And you have a whole crowd of people behind you that are doing that this morning. So congratulations. And Wendy, again, thank you for bringing this about. Onward, upward, because we are there with you all the way. Thank you very much.
And I'll just add a few words. I know several council members have spoken, but I want to thank you and the entire bargaining team as well. As council members, we're constantly out in our communities encouraging people to get involved at the school, at the park, at the church, through neighborhood councils. What you do in terms of your involvement with the union is also getting involved. It's on your own time. You all have jobs in different departments within the city, be it recreation and parks, general services, LAPD, DOT, on and on and on. But you take it upon yourself to do something that's important to you, to your families, to your communities, to your coworkers. In being involved with the union and bargaining a new contract is probably the most complex most difficult and time-consuming challenge that you can take upon when you're involved with the union. But you do it with professionalism, you do it with fairness, you do it with not just your best interest in mind, but that of the entire city. And so I want to congratulate you as well for the work that you've done and success of this most recent contract. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. As the council member represents a district where more than half of the families are finding ways to survive because of their poverty conditions, and knowing that a good number, a majority are all workers, your presence, your advocacy is always treasured, and I just want to thank you for your hard work. Many of you are the unsung heroes. Your names don't come out in the papers, you don't come out in big pictures, but your presence, your consistency, your dedication, your quality of work is very much appreciated. I just want to thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. And I know that when the contract comes up, it'll be unanimous by this City Council to support the efforts of all the individuals behind me, and particularly Bob. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you. We're going to go in the back. Take a picture. Gentlemen.
For our next presentation, let me recognize Councilmember Parks.
Boo.
And get that money ready. Where we going? What we doing? They're hiding us in the back. Don't leave. He's pointing me about leaving.
Because you like to jet out and stuff.
Can I get the suit back in the mark?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to bring up some local community heroes for the city of Los Angeles, Jimmy Haywood and Kenny Roy. Come on up. And also I'd like to ask Robin Petgrave and also Ms. Cynthia Macon and Commissioner Terrence Bell to come up and join us. The reason that we have Jimmy Haywood and Kenny Roy here today is they did something historic over the last several months. They were highlighted in Jet Magazine for their exploits as brand new pilots. Give you a little background. Jimmy is 11 years old in the 5th grade. He set a world flying record as the youngest African-American male to fly a plane round trip on an international flight. Raise that hand up, Jimmy. All right? Step up here so they know who you are. Step up here. He began this record-setting journey when he flew out of California Compton Woodley Airport on Tuesday, September 21st at 6:30 a.m. and landed in Boundary Bay Airport in Delta, British Columbia, Canada Delta on September 21st at 6 p.m. He commenced his return journey when he took off on September 24th from Delta, followed by an overnight layover in Bakersfield, California, before landing safely at home at Compton Airfield on Saturday, September 25th. He flew a Cessna 172 SP, a 4-seat training plane, round trip from Compton, California to Vancouver, British Columbia, and back. As the pilot in command, he performed all the flying, takeoffs, landing, while accompanied by a certified flight instructor as required by law. He flew round trip for a total of 20 hours, logging more than 1,900 nautical miles while flying at the altitude of 8,000 to 9,000 feet over California, Oregon, and Washington. His goal one day is to fly and have his own plane and be a military jet fighter pilot, and also in his spare time play football. So Jimmy, I just want to say congratulations to you. We're going to have you speak in just a minute. Okay? Just hold that right there. Turn around, look at that camera.
Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. I happened to be watching the news one morning, and I saw the takeoff. I think it was from Hawthorne Airport, if I'm not mistaken, where this flight generated. Is that correct? Compton Airport. I remember watching that on the morning news and looking at that smiling face and seeing the whole activity as it took off. And a lot of people around Southern California were very, very impressed. And it obviously shows that the sky's the limit, and these young men are obviously going to achieve that. And congratulations for you for mentoring them through this endeavor. It's quite an accomplishment to be really proud of. So congratulations to you, partner. I remember when I was a kid, there was a TV show called Sky King, and I always wanted to fly an airplane. I never did. But that old TV show, Sky King, always showed me that it can be done if you want to get it done, and you're getting it done. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Both of you. And you, the mentor. Congratulations to all of you.
Ms. Han.
Well, thank you. And
No, we have two more.
Oh,
We have
so
two
I
more
should-
presentations.
right there with these guys?
Yeah.
Do you want, all right.
I want to get, because both of them are world, okay. But I want both Jimmy and Kenny to know what Mr. Hahn said, Mr. Zine said that Zine talked about, I'm sorry, I connected the two of you. Mr. Zine talked about flying. They didn't have planes when Mr. Zine was young. So I just want you to know that right off the bat. But also we have Kenny Roy here, who at the age of 14 set a world record in Canada. On September 24th, he became the youngest African American to fly legally licensed to fly solo. He flew as a passenger along with Jimmy to Canada on the 21st in order to vie for his dream of flying solo. In order to demonstrate his competence to fly solo, he had to study Canadian aviation law and techniques, Pacific Flying Club at the Boundary Bay Airport. He took the test of 50 questions, passed the test with a score of 90%, took a physical from the board-certified licensed physician. He was further required, before flying solo, to fly with a licensed Canadian flight instructor to demonstrate his ability to execute stalls, spins, spirals, emergency procedures, of which he also accomplished without incident. On September 24th, Kenny took off on his own approximately 3 p.m., flying for 15 to 20 minutes over the Boundary Bay Airport before landing. He returned to a hero's welcome at Compton Airfield on September 25th. Kenny has won numerous flying competitions and is known for his amazing accuracy in landing on the dime. Kenny's next goal is to become the youngest African American to fly solo in America and to one day fly a commercial jet plane for a major corporation. Both of these young men have been receiving flight training from the Aviation Explorer program at the Tomorrow's Aeronautical Museum, which is located in Compton. Jimmy and Kenny have received recognition in a variety of publications. Have today here the Jet magazine just recently, which they received front page coverage in November. Also on Time for Kids, scheduled to appear in the Ebony magazine in December. They were interviewed by People magazine. They were featured on CNN, CBS, NBC, and all of the stations and cable. They also were on the Tavis Smiley Show, just to name a few. And so I want to say thank you to Kenny, also a hero for our community. Okay. And we'd like to also honor the person that made all this possible, and that's Robin Petgrave. He must be recognized because without him, these flying records would not have occurred. He began the Tomorrow's Aeronautical Museum in 1999 in Torrance with a mission to teach children to fly. The museum was relocated in Compton in 2001 and at the invitation of the mayor of Compton, who wanted to make sure that young people in disadvantaged neighborhoods had an opportunity to learn to fly. He opened this up for 7 days a week, provided after-school supervision, field trips, a computer lab, a flight simulator, a sky cafe to learn business skills, credits, and also a variety of other things. He has also created a wall of achievement in honor of the legendary Tuskegee Airmen. to inspire youth as to flying. The museum brings together a busy cross-section of aviation enthusiasts throughout the Southern California area. And also, he funds this program through his own financial endeavors, largely funded by two businesses that he owns, the Celebrity Helicopters, which provides sightseeing tours over Southern California, and the Aero Squad Flight School, which teaches adults and children how to fly planes and helicopters. He's also the founder of the Positive Vibrations and Outreach program he created to reach children in disadvantaged communities and schools to teach aviation as an attainable goal. He has personally logged over 11,000 hours of flight time and is recognized as a skilled veteran in helicopter and stunt pilot. I'd like to commend Mr. Robin Petgrave. Okay. Now you get to talk first. Now.
Let me now call on Councilmember Hahn.
Thank you. I forgot what I was going to say. To the two young men, boy, you know, this whole council presentation this morning has been about people overcoming obstacles, about people who got outside of their limits. And you two young men have really sent a message to young people everywhere. It's not about your age. It's not about where you live necessarily. It's about having a dream and having nothing stand in your way for accomplishing it. We all read about your amazing accomplishments. As a mother, I don't know how you did it. I would have been extremely nervous the whole time he was up in the air. But I want to say something about Robin, too. I met Robin several years ago at the Torrance Airport, and I was so impressed because, you know, we hear all the time about after-school programs, and most of our after-school programs have to do with usually at the school, homework, sports, music, art. But Robin took after-school programs to a new height. And Robin always made sure that the young people had to do something. They had to work around the hangars. They had to clean up. They had to do something in order to earn time in the air. And it gave young people an opportunity to know that if they did something, if they worked hard, Robin kept his side of the promise and took them up in the air. I've been in a couple of Robin's helicopters before, and it was scary just being a passenger. That's all I want to say. But he took, we landed safely both times, and I just want to congratulate you, all of you, for taking the mystery out of flying and letting everyone know that if anybody wants to, they too can learn to fly the skies. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you. Thanks. Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just got to ask you guys a couple quick questions. What would you suggest to people that are afraid of flying?
Me?
Sure.
Good training and
Now, let me ask you. So for all the people that are getting ready to get on an airplane today, they're about to get on a United Airlines or something like that. What would you
take the train?
They said take the train. What would you suggest to them so that they're not afraid to fly?
come to the museum and get a first flight and see if they liked it.
Say it again.
Come to the museum and see they get their first lesson and see if they like it and keep on if they join the program and just do hard work, what she said. And
do what she said. And how about yourself? Any suggestion that you might have for somebody that's afraid to fly?
They could probably look on the flight simulator, do that a little bit so they can see how it is from the air, all the surroundings.
All right, I'm going to take that suggestion. Councilman Parks and I are going to introduce a motion to get everybody flight simulators at home for those who are afraid. No, we're not going to do that. There are so many people who you know are adults who would never, ever be able to do what you all have done as young men. And I just want to tell you how proud we all are. And as we saw you take that flight, so many people were just amazed. And so the entire city of LA today stands in honor of your accomplishments. And to the great gentleman behind, yep, absolutely. And Robin, just wanted to add our accolades as well. Just an amazing story that has literally flown all around the world. We just really appreciate what you've done and what you continue to do. And so we're looking forward to seeing you. I'm hoping that I can fly with you guys someday because I get a little jittery. And since you guys seem to have the key, maybe we can just fly together and I'll feel a little bit better up there in the sky. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Parks.
Thank you for coming and inviting me and to talk and give me the award.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right, Kitty.
I want to thank you all for inviting us down here, getting us awards, and for letting other people know about our dreams.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us here. This program is located in Compton because we were invited by the mayor to help change that city's image because they've been going through some turmoil in the past, and they're on the road to recovery, and the mayor thought that we would be a good part of that. We have a relationship with several council members here. When he was Chief Bernard Parks, I mean, we had a celebrity basketball game years ago, and we were nothing. I mean, and we were just a dream, an idea. And he came and showed his support. And then we had an airfare at Torrance. He came again and showed his support. And Councilman Bernard Parks has been a major inspiration to me to continue this program. And our program is accessible for kids from all over Los Angeles County. We have kids that take the bus system from near the Coliseum all the way down to Compton to give themselves a future. And we're really honored to be a part of it. It's been very difficult because of that whole funding thing. But, you know, we figure we keep breaking world records, we keep making kids successful, we keep changing the image and empowering kids and people throughout the entire country to do anything they dream about. And sooner or later, someone will write us a check. Someone said that I'm really a millionaire, I just haven't got my check yet. But, so anyways, we really appreciate this award. This goes right up on the wall. We appreciate Councilman Parks and the words from the lovely Janice Hahn. We really appreciate being here and having us here. Cynthia Manker did so much work to help us, and her daughter, she's a future aviator. The one really cool thing about the museum is these kids are pretty remarkable, but if you come into the museum any day, we have between 40 and 120 kids that are equally capable. And they have no idea about the extent of what they've done as far as empowering youth throughout the entire country to know that you don't have to be a product of your society. You can make your future. And this is the one country on this planet where anybody can do that. And this is living proof of it. Now, one last thing that you don't know, talk about overcoming adversity. Little Jimmy here last year went to visit his mom in Lancaster, and he actually drowned in a pool. And they medevaced him out, they CPR'd him, they flew him to Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and he was in a coma for 2.5 days. When he came out of the coma, the first thing he asked about was the museum and about flying, because he wanted to make sure he could fly again. He said he had flying on his mind. So this little kid here that should have been history just made history. And these guys are just getting started. So with your support, I mean, come down to the museum. If you ever want your heart warmed, if you ever want to see what people are capable of, come down to the museum. And most importantly, if you see what I've done with nothing, just imagine if we do get a check. So come on down. We welcome you to come and see the program. If you want to go flying, just, you know, make the flight a lot more smooth. No, we're always smooth. But no, we invite you to come down to the museum and check us out and go for a flight with Jimmy or Kenny or any other little kids. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have two quick presentations. We have a group of people that came out into the 8th District on our Community Cleanup Day under the leadership of our Field Deputy, Wilma Parks. And we'd like to ask Lorena Ochoa, Victor Gonzalez, Pablo Cardosa, who's here representing Bo Savage, and then also the USC Volunteer Center, Melissa Gaki, and then Emily Kruger, who's representing all the students. We had about one weekend in which Wilma and the community went together and found about a dozen locations in Leimert Park, Baldwin Hills, and the surrounding areas of our West Neighborhood Council, and decided that they were going to go on a community cleanup and beautification weekend. And we were just so pleased to see that through USC's Volunteer Center and students, that we had an army out in the community that planted flowers, basically removed weeds and throughout the community, and did a major service through communities in which we rely on. And I just wanted to be able to acknowledge them today in council. I mentioned their names earlier, but we're going to give them their certificates. And where's Wilma? Wilma, stand up and be acknowledged as the organizer. Melissa? Melissa? Lorena? What did I do? I only have my other one. Okay, we have the other one somewhere. Okay. But I just wanted to acknowledge, why don't you step up, Melissa, and make some comments from USC.
Thank you very much, Councilman Parks. The USC Volunteer Center has been working for close to 10 years to bring USC students into Los Angeles's neighborhoods and do exactly the kind of partnership that we have been doing this in August with Councilman Parks and the community cleanup. And it's very important that USC students meet their neighbors and develop working partnerships with community agencies. So thank you very much for this honor.
Good morning. On behalf of the Los Angeles Conservation Corps Clean and Green Program, we want to thank Council District 8 for acknowledging our accomplishments with this cleanup. Thank you very much, Councilman Bernard Parks and Wilma.
Okay. And then Emily. Emily, on behalf of all the students.
Yes. I just want to say on behalf of the USC Volunteer Center, I'm here standing receiving these awards on behalf of our student volunteers who continually devote their time to helping our neighbors in the 8th District, and we just look forward to many more years of helping our neighbors in the city of Los Angeles, and thank you very much for this award.
Thank you. Now, if you have a seat, we're going to go back and take photos in just a minute. Thank you. Madam Chair, my last presentation, we have as two individuals, Anthony Ipram and also Dr. Willie Mitchell. They're here today because they, along with our field office, put together a 8th District Leadership Council for Youth. And in putting that together, they have developed a very successful council and commitment for young people. It started off with a group of about 2 or 3 dozen kids that almost were too shy to actually express themselves and to give their names and introduce themselves. And as they progressed on, this same group actually put on a summit for youth in the community where they had several hundred young people, their peers, come forward and learn about such things as teen pregnancy. They learned about anti-drugs, AIDS, a variety of issues that are spoken about on the campuses of our schools each day. And to see the progress of these young people is remarkable, but it would not have happened had we not had the involvement of Dr. Willie Mitchell, who just also took a couple of our kids to a national program in New York to have our kids meet and socialize with other youth councils throughout the nation, and also Mr. Anthony Ipram, who runs one of our youth programs out of the Rita Walters Learning Center. And so they have combined to assist us in a youth forum or council in the 8th District and looking for more and better ways to keep our young people busy, out of trouble, in school, and have great grades. So let me ask Dr. Mitchell to come up. And then have some comments.
Well, I'd like to say first, thank you, Councilman Bernard Parks, for making this opportunity possible for our agency to work with the young people within the 8th District. I am a product of the 8th District. As I remember back in the day, we used to deliver a good lick in the Dorsey pretty much once a season when I went to Crenshaw. But now we're adults. Now we're adults, and so we work with young people within the city of Los Angeles and helping them develop their skills within technology, video and television production. And communication skills is what we specialize in, and that's what we do with the young people in the 8th District Youth Leadership Council. He did mention that these young people did travel to the United Nations in New York to work very closely, do some very interesting interviews with young people from different parts of the world, from different countries who were also part of youth councils. And I want to thank you, Councilman Bernard Parks, and I want to thank specifically Ms. Wilma Parks, who was the one who was as an insightful person, brought us on board to help out with this council. And I want to thank you.
I'd like to thank, too, Ms. Wilma Parks for inviting me to be a part of working with this Youth Leadership Council. But moreover, I'd like to thank the councilman for having the vision and the wisdom to understand that young people need a venue and an opportunity to express themselves and make commitments to bettering and empowering their communities and their families and doing positive things in their neighborhoods. So having an opportunity also, I'd like to thank my supervisors, Ms. Gloria Stevenson Clark and Ms. Delphine Jones, and our General Manager, Mr. Graves, for allowing me the latitude to be able to work with this Youth Leadership Council. And I think we've made some great strides with young people having an understanding of the city process and how things are done and how to appropriately make changes in their community and in their schools, and looking forward to a bright and positive future. So I thank you for that opportunity to work with them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to go in the back and take some photos.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parks. Next presentation will be Councilmember Janice Hahn.
Okay. Okay. It's only 12:20.
It's all right.
Madam Chair, council members, I am very pleased today to honor the young people from the Watts Labor Community Action Committee's Youth Build program. And, you know, before I say the rest of my remarks, in a way, it's been good that you've been sitting there for 2 hours. Because I think what you've heard over several presentations is, whether it was Chad, who was a blind man that has overcome that obstacle in his life, or those young kids that are flying across the country, you also represent overcoming obstacles to achieve a dream. And so I'm glad I wish they could have all heard about you. But I think having you sit there and listen about all the other stories this morning hopefully is inspiring. Let me tell you a little bit about the Youth Build program. It helps young people ages 16 to 24 to acquire construction skills and to complete a high school education, while at the same time working to rebuild and construct new housing for people in their communities. The participants alternate weeks on the job and in school. The program operates in 43 states, and the WLCAC just started operating this program in the community of Watts last year in 2003. Here to be honored today in their working clothes are the first young men and women who were accepted into this program in WLCAC. These young people just started the program in June, and they are already in the process of repairing 9 two-bedroom units in the heart of Watts community. I really do want to thank these young people for their commitment to their community and for their efforts to finish high school and gain these very valuable construction skills. Here with the Youth Build participants this morning are their program manager, Jim Smith, as well as our friend Tim Watkins, who's executive director of WLCAC. Jim and Tim, I want to present you with this certificate for the WLCAC Youth Build program. I also have individual certificates that I want to give out to the young people in the program. But first, let me present this to Jim and Tim. And if either one of you would like to say something, I would appreciate it.
First of all, thank you for having us here this morning. These kids, well, I call them kids because I'm 51 years old now, but on the bus this morning, Mr. Smith was mentioning that, you know, they were privileged and honored and should be honored to have me on the bus with them because of my schedule, and that I just had to turn that around because it's my privilege and my honor to be in their presence. These kids are heroes and sheroes in our community, and they're making choices, and I think that's the really important thing that we have to acknowledge here is that, you know, if the opportunity is there in front of them, and you've been watching this all morning, if the opportunity is there, these youngsters aspire to do the right thing, and they're looking for ways to become part of the mainstream, to become self-sufficient, and to become mainstream members of our community. So I'm hoping that in the near future, with the support of our illustrious councilwoman, that we'll be seeking support from the full council to help build a little place in the general budget for a line item that's called Youth Build in the city of Los Angeles.
Jim, would you like to say a few words?
Councilwoman and council members, I'd like to join with Tim and also ask you to open up that budget for Youth Build. There are 11 Youth Build programs serving over 500 to 1,000 young people, 16 to 24 in most of the council district now. We've been working for 10 years to bring Youth Build into the city so that it would be operational in most of the council districts. And if HUD has opened up a line item and the state of California has opened up a line item, then we'd like to give Councilwoman Hahn a booklet that says Youth Build is what's working in the empowerment zone and the enterprise zone, and if HUD can write about it nationally as working, we might as well keep it working in a line item in the budget here in the South Central Los Angeles community. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's honor these young people. Michael Williams. Congratulations. Arvell Williams. Not here. Gustavo Anguiano. Eric Garcia. Not here. Anthony Harris. Abraham Henry. Great name. Rigoberto Rodriguez. Hey. Carrie Russell. David Sibley. Okay, David. Thanks. Billy Thompson. Omar Tenorio. Omar. Charles Wand. Good job. Again, we'll take a picture together, but again, congratulations to all of you, and know that now that we honored you publicly, there'll be a lot of people who are more interested in this program, and a lot of people who will be wishing you success in your future endeavors.
And before you let them
That better
leave,
not be an extra large. Good for you. Okay.
let me recognize Mr. Ludlow to honor these people.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to first thank Councilmember Hahn for recognizing Youth Build, Tim and Jim for all of your work. Just colleagues and people in the audience, Youth Build, as you all know, is one of the best programs in the entire country. I remember when Clinton was elected, his effort to bring national service into being. It was a phenomenal accomplishment. One of the key differences with Youth Build over many of the other programs that we see, job readiness programs, job training programs. This is one of the only programs in the country that provides young people with hard skills hard skills. They're learning carpentry, they're learning plumbing, they're learning all types of great skills that can really make a major difference. And they've got an incredible job placement record, which is one of the other things that is so amazing about Youth Build. And so, Jim, I know you've been in the trenches with the Yes Build. Is that what? Yes. And Tim, all the work that you've been doing there as well, supporting Youth Build. Just again, congratulations. Janice, thank you for taking the time to recognize Youth Build. And to you guys, keep on hammering, keep on sawing, keep on pounding, because you guys are getting there. We're also proud of you, because yes, it's not only job skills, job readiness, but it's a day of work, day of learning, day of work, day of learning. So we know you're finishing some great academic accomplishments as well. So God bless you guys. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Our final presentations will be made by Councilmember Villaraigosa.
Doing a story on you guys, too.
Oh, great.
Well, we're finally here. Been a long morning. Madam President, members, more than 40,000 dogs and cats are put to sleep every year in our city shelters. And this is due to the overpopulation of unwanted dogs and cats on the streets and in our shelters. And research shows that the cost of a spay-neuter operation is the largest deterrent for low-income pet owners who would prefer not to have their pets produce unwanted litters. And Council District 14 and other districts in the city of Los Angeles have been given a great gift from the Sam Simon Foundation, and I wish to recognize that effort today on behalf of the entire City Council. The Sam Simon Foundation Free Spay Neuter Program offers a state-of-the-art mobile clinic that travels to needy areas of Los Angeles, providing sterilization for cats and dogs and free rabies vaccines along with surgery. Since May, when the mobile unit began to go out into the community, the foundation has performed more than 1,000 surgeries. The Sam Simon Foundation was created in June of 2003 by Sam Simon, Emmy and Peabody award-winning writer, director, producer, who has a lifelong love of animals. The Sam Simon Foundation is confident that if it can show the widespread free spay-neuter programs cause a statistical drop in the number of animals that come into city shelters, that every city in the country will adopt aggressive spay-neuter programs, which will in turn finally end the needless death of millions of animals in shelters each year. Not only does spay and neutering prevent the needless killing of animals in shelters, it also contributes to cleaner and safer streets. City of LA requires that dogs have licenses and be registered, and as many of you know, the license costs about $100 if the dog is not spayed or neutered, and only $10 if it's had the surgery. There is also clearly an economic incentive to get the surgery done. I want to thank Sam Simon, the founder, and Terry Austin, the executive director, and all the other staff and volunteers of the Sam Simon Foundation for their dedication to fighting dog and cat overpopulation and providing these services to low-income residents who need them. Thank you for making your mission, saving the lives of dogs, to enrich the lives of people. And now I'd like Sam to say a few words.
Mr. Garcetti, before we hear from Sam, let's hear from Mr. Garcetti.
Just very briefly, thank you very much, Mr. Villaraigosa, for bringing Mr. Simon, the entire foundation. Nice to see Terry as well here again. And I know when we did the canvassing press conference and looking at more canvassing throughout the city in that pilot program, it's such an important project. And in the Budget Committee, I've been very happy and very proud to work towards more of the vouchers in our budget, even at a time of a lot of strain, because it makes fiscal sense. It's not just a moral argument, which I think we agree on. It also makes fiscal sense to not have to go through the process of actually housing dogs, often killing them, and having to go through that road. So the Simon Foundation, though, we can't do it alone in government, and what you've been able to do is just nothing short of incredible in this city. It's a real model for throughout the city what we need to see blossom, and it's a real defining moment for how we approach animal services in this city, and we appreciate you for inspiring at this very important time those decisions and making sure that our entire city, both human beings and animals, are that much safer. Thank you.
Thank you. When I founded the Sam Simon Foundation, I love animals. I also love people, and our mission statement to save the lives of dogs, to enrich the lives of people, is realized in a couple of our wonderful programs where we rescue dogs and train them to be hearing dogs, to give them to deaf people. We have a remarkable program where we rescue senior dogs, which were a little less energetic, and we place them in senior homes. But when I hired Terry Austin to be the president of my foundation, she told me about the importance of spay and neutering. And you certainly brought up some very important points. Neutered pets are also better pets, and if anyone's listening, your dog won't run away, won't bite you. It's just a better thing to do, and it'll also help reduce overpopulation. I'm a lifelong resident, and I'm a native-born Angelino. I do this simply for the pleasure of it. But it's also a pleasure to meet people like Councilman Villaraigosa, who was a fellow animal lover, I could tell when I met him, and loves people as well. He was the first council person to come down and see our van. I hope he's not the last, and I hope you all call Terry and take advantage of our services. And just finally, all these people up here, I'd just like to read their names.
Yes.
Oh, can we do that? Because,
Absolutely.
Well, you can do it. Why don't you do it? Because you're a dignitary. Okay. Because they're the
Yes, they're the people who make it happen.
they are what Dorsey High is to football. They are to dog neutering. Okay, we've got.
So the quarterback is who? Who's the quarterback here?
We'll say.
All right, we got the quarterback.
We've got Kelly Lynn, we've got Louis Sandoval, Jim Rogers, Vicky Pinero, the mother and son team of Martha and Renee Cisneros, Susan Spunt, and of course, the great Terry Austin. Thank you very much. This is quite an honor for me and the foundation.
Thank you, Councilman. I just want to thank our City Council for understanding the importance of spay and neuter and knowing that this is really the answer to ending having to euthanize animals in the shelters. And also the Councilman, his office has been very, very responsive in pinpointing areas that need the service. And I want to encourage everybody to do call us. It's 1-888-DOG-SPAY. And if you have a area in your council that you'd like us to come visit, because of Mr. Simon's generosity, we can be very flexible. We've given you all our posters, and Sam Simon came up with our slogan, which is, "Yo dog, neuter your dog." So thank you again for understanding the importance and for recognizing our effort, and we're thrilled to be there.
Thank you.
Thank you. So on behalf of the Los Angeles City Council, I'd like to present the Sam Simon Foundation with this resolution, which chronicles your accomplishments, your commitment to animals and dogs and people. And we hope to continue to work with you to ensure that we're engaging in good and safe practices with spaying and neutering our dogs.
Thank you. It's our hope as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we come on up? What's the Officer Brooks. Y señora, acá, por favor. Bien, sí, pues la mamá. I'm very proud to stand here today in honor of two of our outstanding youth here in CD 14, Evelyn Chavez and Linda Tomas, who are participants of the PAL, the Police Activities League program, and sophomores at my alma mater, Roosevelt High School. We're here today to honor their outstanding community service and their selection to participate in a prestigious national opportunity. Both students are members of the PAL Youth Directors Council. They've been selected from more than 40,000 members in 122 chapters in California to represent the state at the upcoming 7th Annual Youth Directors Conference in Lake Buena Vista, Florida in January 2005. In the past year, Evelyn Chavez and Linda Tomas have gone above and beyond the minimum requirements of the program, which is 8 community service hours per month and the maintenance of a 2.0 GPA. They volunteered their time feeding the homeless at Dolores Mission, tutoring younger youth. I'm very proud to say cleaning up the community by participating in our Boyle Heights Day of Service, where more than 1,200 people were there with them engaging in Civitas. At the Florida YDC conference, they will participate with other PAL youth from across the country in activities such as motivational speaking, leadership training sessions, youth opinion forums, and recreational and social opportunities at Walt Disney World. And so we're very, very proud of these young people. They're a great example of not only being good students, but great community members committed to public service and community service. And I'd like to have both individuals say a few words.
I just want to say thank you for... Okay. My name's Evelyn. I'm a sophomore at Roosevelt High School in the East LA Boyle Heights community. I just want to recognize Officer Brooks, Councilmember Villaraigosa for their support for this wonderful program. If it wasn't for this program, who knows where we, youth of East LA, would be at. So I want to say thank you and for all the support from all the wonderful people who contribute their time and dedication to this wonderful program. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Tomas. I'm a sophomore in Roosevelt High School. I would just like to thank Councilmember Villaraigosa and Officer Brooks for making this happen because they're very supportive to our program. I would like to say thank you.
Is this your mom?
Oh, no, that's her mom. Yeah.
Introduce your mother.
This is my mother. Her name's Elsie Garcia, and I want to thank her for all her support. I know sometimes she gets frustrated because I'm not home sometimes. She doesn't understand where I go and why I do it, but I know deep inside she supports me and she understands. I want to thank her.
Thank you.
And finally, before I present this, if Officer Brooks, would you like to say a few words?
I'd just like to thank Councilman Villaraigosa for all his support to our PAL program because these youth are our future of the city of LA, and he's been very supportive. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And let me, again, those of you who have participated in the PAL program know what a great success it is. They're working in this particular case in Estrada Courts, one of the housing projects in the 14th Councilmanic District, doing a great job. As you may know, there's a CLEAR program in that area. So on the one hand, we have more police patrols and a comprehensive approach to fighting youth violence in our city and in that part of the city. And on the other hand, we have the prevention and intervention, which is so critical. So I'm very proud to have this PAL program and two great young California representatives. And after the motivational speaking and all of the skill building that you're going to get, maybe you'll get mine and Mr. Padilla's job one day. So felicidades and congratulations. So Linda, on behalf of the Los Angeles City Council, I'd like to present you with this award. You were Linda, right? Yes. Let's get
And members, while we're having those photos taken, I've had a request to take 2 items up from the agenda out of order. So if there's no objection to that, let's take items 27 and then 28. And I've also been informed that there are 2 more resolutions that are now going to be done today. So let's, at this point, without objection, take up item number 27, and then we recognize Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This item is relative to the Bradley Landfill Trust Fund, and it's something that we'd like to put in order, but we have to do some housekeeping here, and this motion has to do with the city attorney, and I would like to request that the city attorney approve an update and provide an update in 14 days the status of negotiations with the waste management and ordinance preparation motion. Thank you.
All right, we've heard the council member ask for that amendment, so Mr. Clerk, I believe we can consider that and open the roll.
Thank you, guys.
Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. We'll send that forthwith. Let's take up item number 28. And 28 was called special for speaker cards. Let me call forward Miss Ileana Llanares.
Yes, good afternoon. With your permission, I'd like to read my statement to the council chamber. Dear honorable council members, my husband and I are the subject property owners of the vacant lot, and we object to the fees being unjustly imposed upon us at this hearing. We also appeal to each and every council member to look beyond and beneath this matter. We were in frequent communication with the Department of Building and Safety regarding our active participation in cleaning the lot and replacing the fence. While we were finishing and cleaning process and prior to replacing the fence, we were informed that the city sent a crew to place an elaborate fence on this vacant lot. We immediately contacted the Department of Building and Safety to ask why they arbitrarily sent the crew without informing us, since we were already in communication with them and they knew we were already cleaning and replacing the fence. The officer mentioned that he received a call, and it was not my husband's voice, which said he authorizes the work to be done. This was an unusual statement and shock to us, knowing that we would never call and we would never authorize the work to be done since we were already doing it ourselves. See attached declaration on the person who did the work. We have contacted President Council Member Alex Padilla's office regarding this matter very recently. In our discussions with Mr. Robert Negrocho, he admitted that he authorized it. He also elaborated that he received calls from the adjacent neighbors about homeless and prostitution activities at the property. These statements telegraph either council member's office was ill-informed or they misunderstood. Since the subject is a vacant corner lot about 9,000 square feet in a major artery traffic light intersection and foot traffic, prostitutes conducting business would be unusual due to the high visibility. Our immediate neighbor, who has the other older structure, 1930s, 40s, and no upgrades, and the smallest lot within blocks, informed us in the past that he would like to own our lot, but not pay for it. He also made comments that he would make it very difficult and impossible for our lot to be developed. Conveniently, he feeds the homeless from the back of his home to induce very minor traffic from time to time of homeless that trespass our property by breaking the fence. He also has a habit of throwing his trash and beer bottles to the lot. Then conveniently, he gets on the phone and puts all the city agencies to work, including calls to the police and presumably the district council's office. Across the street is a church that approached the former council member, Alarcon, to buy the property via a donation to the church. So the church will use conveniently as a parking lot. Father John has issued statements to that effect and approached us for such donations as well, with warnings that this property will not be developed. The church has also discarded some of their old furniture on this lot that we had to remove. Behind the property, there is a large condominium structure that are all rental units that also contributed their trash to this lot. We have endured this hardship for almost 10 years to clean and fence the property several times a year. Yet we never had any problems from the former district council's office. See attached declaration and expert opinion of former field deputy as well as Senator Alarcon's chief of staff, since the property falls in their jurisdiction today. We have been imposed huge charges by the Department of Building and Safety that are unfair, baseless, and fraudulent. These charges are prefabricated and manicured lies formed to fit the suit. Now we have learned that the story presented by the Building and Safety and the District Council's office are conflicting with dates not correlating. Speaking with Building and Safety, they take pride in their action by saying the owner or someone authorized the work. One example, they claim, we usually send out bids. If they were obtaining bids, it contradicts why they continued communicating with us and why they did not share such intentions of their decisions at that time. We can continue with the many holes that exist in their story. They claim they had photos of the property, but we had already cleaned the property. Also today and the day before, they claim they had, also today and the day before, with the district council's deputies, they revealed to us, as well as Mayor Hahn's office, that the process has been for over a year with warnings. This is again a contradictive statement. The truth is, every year, the end of January, every vacant lot owner receives a lot cleaning notice. Predominantly, it gives a window up to 60 days to clean. We communicate always with the lot cleaning section, which is part of the Building and Safety. Our point person is from the lot cleaning, and he is the one who gave us the window and/or extensions. Last year, we had several storms that prevented us from completing our work, and they gave us an extension. On or about that time, this fence was placed. We were bombarded with letters from the Building and Safety, contrary to the past 10 years, stating that homeless are at the property, the fence doesn't look good, etc. These hasty letters are all within a very short window. The fence was placed in May 2003, so the claim made that it was a year or so process is incorrect, or different dates do not match. It appears that their homework for this story was not properly done. We have also been penalized for graffiti. Let's not be in denial or ignore that homeless and graffiti is a part of this community. However, this vacant lot does not have any walls. Thus, we are in an impasse with this ambiguity, peculiar accusations, and outrageous penalties being unjustly imposed. In today's communications with the District Council's office, they are also revealed to the Mayor's office that we were told that they are willing to compromise with some reduction, and we were viewed as stubborn for not willing to accept the charge. And if this would go to Council Chamber, you will see what will happen, and that none of the council members will go against our recommendation. Honorable members, if this is a process, why are we here today? In summary, after several years of trying to develop this property to no avail, and in particular, the last attempt, we put all our life savings in the faith of the council member and mayor's support, which was also echoed by the planning department. Unfortunately, we as a private citizen and working class exhausted all of our savings to put time to proceed with the process. Shortly thereafter, my husband had a heart attack. Since then, we have been harassed by the city's different agencies. We approached City Council Member Padilla personally, and his office yet to date have not received a response, yet to date we have not received a response nor an opportunity to work with them on this property. It is very convenient for city agency employees to throw curveballs to private citizens and to conveniently work from 8 to 5, but the private citizen that works 14 hours a day, including weekends, have to struggle to comply or resolve all requests and hurdles created under the interpretation of their law and continue to play the role of taxpayer. Everybody knows the government agencies produce and send letters every day. So this should not be viewed as you have received several letters. Yes, we received letters, and in turn we have communicated with the Department the Department of Building and Safety to comply, and all of a sudden, this fence appeared overnight, as you see stated in the declaration. Despite our medical problems, we performed with the request. We have never experienced this harassment in the past 10 years. It appears to be a very unusual situation that we are caught up in. We request from the Chamber to deny this unjustly and absorbent fees being imposed upon us, which is also an enormous financial hardship. We also submit the attached exhibits with this letter to support our position, which has already been distributed. Respectfully submitted, Ileana Linares. Thank you for hearing.
That letter was on our desks and delivered to our offices this morning as well. We have item 28 before us. No one, Mr. Padilla, did you want to speak?
Just briefly, colleagues, I will ask for your support to confirm the building and safety assessment that's recommended before us. Wouldn't otherwise speak, but I know the property owners have pulled several of you to the side and pleaded with you and given you different stories as to what needs to happen here. So just for clarification, because there was a lengthy testimony offered just a second ago, you all know how building and safety works. When there's a problem property, there's citations, orders to comply. More often than not, property owners do comply, put their property back in order. When there's multiple citations, you know there's a process for those to come to building and safety if the owner appeals. And it's only in rare instances when a property is so bad and problematic that building and safety will turn around and go in there and do the cleanup, go in there and do the fencing because the owner refuses to cooperate. And that is what's happening here. And they have since appealed it. It's now come to the council. I think the price tag is a total of about $8,000 and change here. And what they have said is not true in terms of working with my office. They have talked to my field deputy. They have talked to my district director. We've tried working with them. They refuse to budge. They refuse to be reasonable. This is a problem property in a significant part of my district across the street from a church. And so, no, I don't move any relief. I move the full assessment of what building and safety has suggested.
The matter is now before us. Public hearing is closed. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Members, if there's also no objection, let me call item 6 out of order at this time. So I think that there was a request to speak from Ms. Julie Butcher on item 6, and she is still here, although many others have left.
That was inevitable. I just wanted to thank you all. I sent the bargaining team off to eat cold food, and would love to invite you if you ever get down here. The 26th floor, we have, at this point, cold food. But the course of these negotiations were such that we really did eat lots and lots of cold food. From the workers' perspective, this agreement protects our jobs, protects our services, maintains very critical employer-paid basic family benefits, solves a whole raft of problems, recognizes the vital importance of part-time workers in the city family, and creates a whole slew of labor management processes to figure out the rest of the problems that we couldn't solve right there on the spot. Local 347's bargaining team, those 33 men and women that were so patient here for so long, have worked for y'all for 514 years. They recognize the city's financial situation, are willing to work with you. This is an agreement based on mutual respect and recognition that we're all in this together. This contract is going to cost y'all some money, some obviously much less than we would like. It's a cost. But it also has the potential to save millions. But only with your help. We need you all to make sure that in the course of these 3 years, while this contract is being implemented, that you are asking the questions, that you are calling things into committee, that you are really making sure top to bottom accountability is what the workers of the city expect. Change is really difficult, and in large organizations it's even more difficult, but it's essential and critical. So these 33 workers, when they got the jobs that they have, They competed against 38,678 people who took the tests for the jobs that these 33 people were hired for. We hope that the trust of the folks that were the best of the best of the best and have worked for you for literally hundreds of years between them will be recognized, which is why we put together a compilation of the 393 ideas for saving money, improving service, generating revenue, that deserves careful looking at to see what makes sense. Again, we didn't censor those ideas, so some of them are really silly ideas and some of them are excellent ideas. Some of them can be moved immediately, and some of those are things that should be kind of never talked about again, but nothing should be sacred. So on behalf of the 8,000 workers that pick up your trash and clean your restrooms and do all of those things, fix and drive and tinker with everything that runs in the city, I urge you to vote yes on this contract. I want to thank the CAO's office, and if she's awake, Patty Friedman. This was her first contract with us, so think about that. You're served well by the CAO. He's an honest, honorable man that's an excellent negotiator, and once he got past that benefit cut stuff, I think this is a square, fair deal for the city and for the workers, and I want to thank you for considering this today. Thanks.
Thank you. Let me recognize Councilmember Garcetti.
Thank you, Madam President. And I know it's been a long morning already, but I did want to rise because I think whenever we have the opportunity, we do need to, in public forum, proclaim the work, not just day to day that the workers do with their hands and their feet and their fingertips throughout the city, but also the work that went in that Julie Butcher alluded to of rethinking how this city works. The nearly 400 ideas. When this city gets beat up, it's often us that get beat up. It's sometimes the city workers for having too much money in this city, for getting too much for too little. And we know how much people have tightened their belts in the last 2 years. We know that Wall Streeters recognize that by giving us the best bond rating of any big city in America. I mean, don't take it from us, take it from Wall Street, but also because workers have been creative at getting more out of this city for less. That's what taxpayers demand. That's what residents should demand. But there's so many stories as well of city workers that never make it onto the news. I mean, when Mr. Parks was talking about South LA, if there's something positive, a camera never shows up. If a city worker does something positive, often there's very few cameras there too. But I can think of weekends in which I know that workers not getting paid overtime have showed up to help out with a cleanup in my own district, and they've brought their friends, they've brought family members. They do this with no headlines, with no publicity, because they learn and they care about communities. And when we do that, I think a contract like this, which gives dignity to part-time workers, which was long overdue, which recognizes that this is a bargaining unit that not only asks for things, but puts things on the table of how we can be a better city, how we can run better. And I'm always of a philosophy that the best ideas usually bubble up from the grassroots and not necessarily come down from the very top. And we will make sure that there's accountability from the very highest levels. Ourselves will commit to that at the management level and the middle management level, and we'll demand that from our workers as well, because the public deserves nothing less. I just wanted to close, and obviously I'm very strongly supportive of this, but during the negotiations, the posters that were put up that said "A Day Without a City Worker," proclaiming Day Without a City Worker, what it would be like in Los Angeles, just how much trash would not be collected in this city, just how much would not function, and how much every resident of Los Angeles depends on that work every single week should remind us that while we all keep our eye on making a more efficient city, that this contract is going to be a good thing for this city, and we thank the workers for bringing us to that point.
Councilmember Zine.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to acknowledge Julie Butcher for your understanding. I know that oftentimes, and I've sat on the other side of the table, oftentimes these negotiations become very tense and argumentative and sometimes even combative. And your understanding and your willingness to work, talking to you, Julie, General Manager of SEIU, Local 347, your ability to work with the city, with Bill Fujioka's office, his personnel, to come with a satisfactory solution And I know how it always starts out, and I know how it always ends, and there's oftentimes the middle ground where we finally achieve success. But I want to acknowledge your understanding, your commitment to the workers, also your commitment to the people of Los Angeles, because it's with that understanding that we can come to a successful conclusion, and we don't have the unrest with the municipal employees not doing the tasks that they want to do, that they're compensated to do. So I know yesterday we were acknowledging our custodial personnel and the wonderful work they do, oftentimes not acknowledged, and today we get this contract settled to benefit those folks. So it's a give and take, but I want to acknowledge all the work that you've done in the benefit of the members of the SEIU Local 347. Congratulations. And I see Bill Fujioka there. He's not even smiling. Bill, you should smile. Another contract's done. You don't have to go any more anguish through that one. So congratulations, and thank you, Julie, for your understanding.
Mr. Labange.
If I could have a little sound, I appreciate it. And Julie Butcher, thank you for your leadership. But thanks for all the workers of this city. We have to work harder. The city has always been fair, and it takes that challenge as we have the process of negotiating a contract, but we have to work harder to deliver the services for the people, and we do. But I want workers to work smart and safe, because I don't want them to get hurt out there. And that's one of the key things. And I also want to thank what used to be the best shaped workers in the world, which was our sanitation workers. But now with automation, they don't get that physical fitness that they should get. One thing I want to say, Ms. Misikowski, is safety and also awareness for workers to take care of themselves at the start of the job so they don't have back injuries. They take that time, make sure that, Mr. CAO, make sure that we have some wellness program coming back to us so that workers could able to serve the city well and not have the challenges of injury. But I want to thank everybody. You too. You can need it too, Mr. Fujioka. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. This matter is now before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved unanimously. We'll send it forthwith. Congratulations. Members, as I indicated, there were two more presentations. Let me recognize Mr. Ludlow at this time.
Thank you, Madam President. As many of you know, last week we had the opening of one of LA's most beautiful facilities in the entire city of Los Angeles. I want to appreciate Councilmember Villaraigosa for being there, and Councilmember Jan Perry came by as well. We gave out a lot of awards, a lot of accolades. We acknowledged a lot of people that night, but there was one person who couldn't be there, who we didn't get a chance to acknowledge, and he has no idea that I'm doing this right now, but I'd like to ask Mike Hernandez to come up here because he played a major role. And yeah, he's like, what is that? I was so thankful for you getting this in before he actually left the chambers. But Mike, on behalf of the city of LA, I want to take an opportunity to thank you for all of the work that you did before I got elected, working with my predecessor, Nate Holden, to get this facility funded. For those of you that still haven't been there, you are going to be totally blown away. As Councilmember Villaraigosa was, you'll have, when you walk in there, you'll say, my gosh, government got it right. It is beautiful architecture. It's already won a National Architectural Award. It's a state-of-the-art sound system in there. It's got just any amenity that we need to make sure that level A cultural events, music festivals, performing arts activities take place on city property in a great fashion. And so on behalf of the city of LA, Councilman Hernandez, we'd like to present you with this plaque acknowledging you for your great leadership, foresight, and wisdom to make sure that that multi-million-dollar facility got funded, got built, and got open. Thank you all so much. Councilman. Councilman. Say a word. Say a word.
One, I wanted to, I was surprised. I wasn't expecting this, so I'm totally surprised. And when I went to work for Councilman Holden, I asked him what was the most important project on his agenda. And what ultimately ended up happening was the Washington Performing Arts Center that became the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. And we had some issues of trying to get funding and trying to get it done appropriately. And what I want to share with everybody is members are usually known for the projects they get to cut ribbons for. It's not the projects that they start. And Councilman Ludlow was the member who got to cut the ribbon for the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. And I really appreciate the fact that he's been a statesman about it, that he has shared the credit and tried to make sure that the people who actually did the work were recognized for it. But it is a fantastic center, and if any of you remember the Ebony Showcase and the heartaches that Councilman Holden went through regarding that issue, and I shared with people that that was a center that when I was a kid, I think it was the first place I went to see a play as an elementary school student at Loretto Elementary School. And so now with the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center, I'm sure that kind of legacy is going to continue, and it's going to be one of the diamonds in Council District 10, and I'm sure something that the constituents there will be proud of, and also Councilmember Ludlow. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Ludlow. Councilmember Labange.
Just like following Councilmember Ludlow, it's surprising former Councilman Hernandez of a commendation. I'm surprising Hiroshi Sakai, who's been an intern in our office right now, and the staff of my office is right here to salute you for your work. Hiroshi is from our sister city of Nagoya and has been in our office and learning about city government here. He works for the city of Nagoya. He's here also to learn and promote about the events of the International Fair in Nagoya next year, 2005, including the International Sister City Fair. So Hiroshi, as they used to say in Hollywood, this is your life.
Yeah.
You're right here to be saluted by the City Council for your work as an intern in my office. Please congratulate Hiroshi for his great work.
Thank you.
Say a quick word.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for accepting me as an internship. I enjoy my internship, and I also learn a lot of things from you. So I hope our relationship go forever, forever, and forever. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Hiroshi.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Clerk, next item on the agenda.
Madam President, do you wish to take public comment at this time?
We can take public comment at this time. I don't know that we did have a number of cards that were submitted by the South Central Farmers. Are there any here still participating in that? The South Central Farmer representatives, please come forward. Please address us.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Te voy a interpretar.
Dame chance para traducir.
Oh.
Okay.
Mi nombre es Cándido Santana y venimos de la farmer que está en el 41 y la Alameda.
My name is Cándido Santana. I come from Farmers,
Jardín.
the garden that's on 41st and
El 41 y la Alameda.
41st in Alameda.
Queremos pedirle a los señores concejales que nos dejen trabajar la tierra,
We're just asking for the council members to please let us work the soil.
que yo creo que es un buen lugar para enseñarle a nuestros hijos a cultivar la tierra y enseñarle nuestras culturas y nuestras raíces que traemos desde México.
That I think it's a great thing to show our children, our grandchildren, and our council members how we cultivate the land, how we produce fruit.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Soy una señora que está en el jardín de la 41 y la Alameda.
I'm a lady that's on 41st and Alameda.
Venimos aquí representando a los compañeros porque queremos seguir estando allí, no nos queremos ir, como decimos, aquí estamos y no nos vamos.
I'm a person here representing our coworkers. Like I said, we are here and we're here to stay. We're not leaving.
Porque estamos cultivando la tierra.
Because we're cultivating the soil.
Queremos seguir haciéndolo para enseñarles a nuestros hijos, a nuestros nietos, que es un lugar seguro para poder crecer y enseñarles la cultura y lo que se debe hacer con la tierra productiva.
We want to show this to our children, our grandchildren, and show them that it's a safe place, safe haven, to show them what we're producing, that it's safe to cultivate our land, our soil.
Le queremos decir a nuestros representantes latinos y no latinos que están sentados aquí
We want to tell our representatives, Latin representatives and non-Latin representatives that are here today,
que no se olviden de nosotros, que no se olviden de nuestra cultura.
that please don't forget us, please don't forget our culture.
Estamos aquí para luchar por lo que nos pertenece, por lo que creemos que es nuestro.
We're here to fight, to struggle for what's ours, what belongs to us, what's just.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maribel Clatoa, a current East Los Angeles student. I'm here to ask for your support, and we want to preserve the garden on 41st and Alameda. We grow fresh, natural fruits and vegetables for the community, and it's a great place for kids. We ask for your support. We want green space, not warehouses, y aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you. We had two other cards that were submitted in public comment, Arlene Glasser and Melrose Larry Green.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, folks. I actually wasn't going to come down to the meeting today, but when I heard that Sam Simon was going to be honored, I came down. And it's a wonderful thing. Now, I'm going to be very brief in my comments, but I want you all to listen and pay as much attention to me as I paid to you earlier on in the meeting. We all know that this was a very big week. It was a divisive week. We all know, all of you around here, you all won your elections, but you all know that in elections you have winners and losers. But the problems in the city of Los Angeles are not Democratic or Republican problems. It's no secret that I'm Republican. It's no secret that I was supporting President Bush. But the reason why I'm here today is to let you know that 4 years ago, I made the same speech that I'm making right now. I have catalogs of all my TV and radio appearances. There have been thousands of them. But 4 years ago, I said, we've got a new president. Why don't you invite him to your city council? Well, 4 years later, it's not a squeaker by 512 votes. It's a mandate. It's almost a landslide. And 4 years later, we have a Republican governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I'm going to repeat a little bit of that speech. I would like you in city council to invite President Bush to the city council. I would like you to invite Governor Schwarzenegger. They care about solving the problems of homelessness, traffic, crime. I'm a Rudy Giuliani, Dick Reardon Republican, but I've got friends around this horseshoe. Two of my best friends in city council are running for mayor. I'm torn between two lovers, between Bernard Parks and Antonio Villaraigosa, and I welcome their comments. The good news is I'm not running for mayor.
That's a news flash.
Well, I want you to know that these are great guys. Excuse me?
All right.
It's a family hour. You're a great man also, Jack Weiss. So give me your word that you will invite President Bush and Vice President Cheney to these chambers. I know you don't like them. I know, look, Antonio ran John Kerry's campaign. If the whole country was California, we'd have a President Kerry 1,000 times.
Thank you.
Am I making my point?
You certainly have.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. That now concludes our public hearing.
Now I'm going to go for lunch with Sam Simon. Last thing, I know Rudy T. also from when I lived in Houston. I want you to invite Rudy T. here. He's now coach of the Lakers. I'll see you later, Tom. And what am I wearing? My Tom LaBonge for City Council t-shirt. I got to take the red line and go back to Hollywood. See you later.
Well, thank you. All right. That concludes the public comment at this time. We do have two items remaining on the desk. Item 22. And item 22, we did have a comment card submitted from Mel. Right.
Item 22 concerns designating a particular film festival, AFI Film Festival. And the great Sam Simon has punched up quite a few scripts and movies. And your own friend Melrose Larry was in a movie with Whoopi Goldberg and John Sally called Eddie. So I definitely rise in support of funding the AFI Film Festival and waiving all costs. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 22 is now before us. Open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote. That is approved. All right. Item number, the next item is,
Item 23 was called special, and as much as there is cards from the public.
all right, the card was submitted by Ms. Sylvia Lynn Hawkins. I believe she has left. So we'll open the hearing and close the hearing, and that matter is now before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. What remains on the desk?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Perry requests to be excused on Tuesday, November 9th for a personal business that meets council policy.
Ms. Perry is excused on November 9th.
And Councilmember Padilla requests to be excused to leave at noon on Tuesday, November 9th for a city business that also meets council policy.
Mr. Padilla is excused on that date.
That clears the desk, Madam President.
All right, members, are there announcements? There are announcements. Mr. Ludlow?
Get a little sound. Just wanted to acknowledge that tonight is the homecoming game at Dorsey High School against Locke. Want to wish them well. Encourage everybody to come out. We're going to have a wonderful homecoming parade, and I'm sure that they're going to be victorious. Also, want to thank everyone for a great week of activities last week. We didn't get a chance to acknowledge it, but many, many people came through the opening week. I want to thank all of you that were supportive of that. So again, hope to see people tonight at the Dorsey High School game.
Other announcements? Mr. Zine.
I'd like to announce that the Fernando Award is tonight in the San Fernando Valley, the highest award for a member of the San Fernando Valley community, and there's a number of wonderful people who are nominated, and the winner will be announced tonight at the dinner, and I think some of my colleagues will be there with me, and I wish them all, they're all winners, and the ultimate winner will be announced tonight.
Other...
Name the five. Was this a trivia question? Okay, we have Joe Barad, we have Carl Bachman, we have
Richard
Lehner. We have, there's a couple more. Just say Ricky Gelb. It's not Ricky Gelb. And it's not Lee Cannonball Albert. But
Lee is already a Mr. Assistant.
Anyway, it'll be Lee Albert and Dave Fleming emceeing tonight. It's a wonderful event. And I wish I knew the other two. Greg, come on, my council member colleague from the 12th District. Wendy, I know who'll know. Tom LaBonge, you'll know. Tom LaBonge knows, huh?
All right, are there other announcements? Mr. Parks.
I just want to get 23 forthwith.
23 will send forthwith. Are there adjourning resolutions? It does, yes, we do have adjourning tributes. Could I ask everyone in the audience to please rise? Let me recognize Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Ask the council to adjourn in the memory of Joseph George Simile, who was born and raised in Los Angeles and died at the young age of 54 on November 1st. Joseph was a plumbing contractor for 18 years. He was loved by his family and friends. He loved golfing, traveling, and just being the boss. He was a devoted husband, father, son, brother, cousin, and friend. He was generous to a fault with everyone who entered his life. Joseph is survived by his wife, Rosemary, son Vincent, daughter Natalie, and son-in-law Kelly, granddaughter Sophia Rose. May Joseph George Simile rest in peace. Thank you.
Other tributes? If not, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Council is adjourned.